Stand up, New York Giant fans. Baddog draft finally over, and now we're kind of sitting and waiting for about, 2.5 months. We get the schedule next week, and then after that, it's kind of, you get the OTAs, you get the mini camps, you get the training camp, then you get the preseason. But we got a while until we get to see our new presents under the tree.
Yeah, and definitely looking forward to it. Yeah, the draft, obviously we recapped it, or we covered it last week, and it was freaking awesome. And I don't know what just happened here. I was watching what the hell is going on with my television? It's because the Nets are playing. I wanted to watch it. I was putting the basketball game on the back, and I'm like, why am I getting blacked out? I didn't realize it was the Nets, so I gotta go to yes. Anyway, yeah, so we didn't get a chance, we covered that for 3 days. That was always a lot of fun. We really appreciate you guys, girls. You were with us all weekend, man. The streams were awesome. We had a lot of fun doing that, as we had the last couple of years. And obviously, Chris, the first round was very surprising for us for a couple of reasons. Dave Gettleman had never traded down in the history of his GM tenure, and I don't think a lot of people thought we were going to take Kadarius Toney at number 20.
22. Oh yeah, 20. What am I saying? 20. But the question I got for you, well, not question, but one thing I think about, because you hear that all the time, Gettleman's never traded down, and it got me thinking, when's the last time the Giants traded down? I can't remember. Maybe I'm forgetting. In the first round, when's the last time the Giants traded down? I feel like we don't trade down.
It doesn't seem like it. I don't remember the last time we traded down.
Yeah,
I don't. I don't remember the last time we traded down. So it's a good question. Not in the first round anyway.
It's something I should have looked up, because I was thinking about it after the draft, because all we heard all offseason is that Gettleman's never traded down. And I thought, I'm like, the Giants never trade down.
Reese never did.
Yeah, long before Gettleman ever got here. And not only did we trade down in the first, we traded down in the second. Mm-hmm. And, we'll talk about all the picks tonight. We'll talk with the chat. But, and it's kind of, I think, what we both said while we were doing it together. Obviously, who you get this year is important. But the big silver lining that came out of this draft for me was just that. All the future draft capital that we got, it serves as both insurance for Daniel Jones in case he doesn't work out, or it serves as, being able to bring in big pieces next year to help further make this team get to where it needs to be, which is a Super Bowl with Daniel Jones as the quarterback, if he proves he's worthy of that this year, in a offseason where we're not going to have a lot of money to spend in free agency.
And that was the thing. And you mentioned it during the draft, that because we are going to be cap stricken next year, this is how you build when you're limited on cap. You do it through the draft. The best way to do that is by stockpiling picks, especially getting an extra first-round pick from the Bears, which will certainly help so you can fill your holes that way. This year, they took a swing at the free agency market to try to accelerate the process of rebuilding. And then again, next year, you're hoping that these guys pan out. You're hoping Adoree Jackson has a good year. You're hoping that, Kenny Golladay has a good year. You're hoping that this doesn't come back to bite you. You spent all that money. Now, we have a lot of guys on one-year deals, John Ross, Reggie Ragland, that type of thing. And I don't remember. It was Denigbo. Is he a 1-year deal, or is he?
Yeah, Freddie Denigbo was 1 year. Yeah.
So you got, we got a lot of guys on 1-year contracts, but again, you spent a lot of money. You restructured contracts to get these guys in here. Leonard Williams, he's going to cost a lot of money. So you hope that these guys are worth it. And then you add another draft with a bunch of draft picks and you end up being really, really good. That's obviously what you're looking to do. Andrew Salgado, thank you, brother. Brilly, my man. It says check your DM. Andrew 613 went live with Aaron Robinson. It's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. And that's a guy that, much like the year before, we were kind of surprised, when the New York Giants drafted him, kind of like we were a little bit surprised when they drafted Darnay Holmes. Because last year, I remember we didn't expect them to take a corner. But the more I see of Aaron Robinson, the more I really like him. Obviously, and we'll talk about it, because a big hole in this team right now, or a perceived hole by both of us. We both thought they'd be going offensive line. Yes. And the dog's already barking. We're going to let her up after I say
this. She thought we were going offensive line, too.
We both thought they'd be going offensive line, for sure. And I think a lot of Giants fans are nervous because we didn't decide to address that. But one thing I will say about Aaron Robinson, the guy looks like he's going to be a damn good player. I think he's a guy that could compete to start at that slot corner spot. And I think Bobby from Talking Giants brought this up as well, so I want to give him credit for it. As the draft went further along, especially once you got to the third-round area, there's less and less of an opportunity for one of these guys to be an immediate contributor on the offensive line. Mm-hmm. So I think the Giants just went for BPA.
Yeah, I think we thought the same thing. because these guys are projected to be a certain number, or they ranked a certain number. Like, what was Aaron Robinson? Was like the I forget. It wasn't Aaron Robinson. Somebody was like the 73rd best player in the draft. Ellison. Ellison Smith. He was like rated 73 on some big boards. So they took him in the 4th round. And God, you can take care of that.
I'm gonna let her up right now.
Let her out because she's getting agitated. I'll hold down the chat for a second.
She's thinking about the draft. She wanted a lineman.
She is. Yeah, she wanted a hog. She wanted a hog. But the one thing I was thinking, guys, and I know we mentioned it in the draft, when we were covering it, was that, how much of an impact is a lineman? We got into the 4th and 5th round. Is how much of an impact is that lineman really going to make at that point? So, Gettleman and company, they have faith in what they did last year. You got to give these kids a chance to develop. And it's a big question mark. I mean, I don't think anybody is thinking otherwise. I don't think any Giants fans sitting there going, oh, yeah, our offensive line is in good shape, because we really don't know. We hope that these guys get better. And as I've said, if this offensive line is average, we could be a really good offense. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people thought we were going to go offensive line, and like I said, Gettleman and Judge and company feel good about what they did last year in the draft, and they want to give these kids a chance to develop. That's really what it is. It's a big question mark, but we have to see what we have.
Yeah, no, that's all I say, man. Listen, at the end of the day, and I made a video on it yesterday, I don't agree with the decision. But like you said, as fans, what choice do we have? I wanted an offensive lineman. I didn't hide that. But like anything else in life, I try to see the positive out of things. And I am not as smart as those guys. Let's be real. Nobody in this chat, even though everybody likes to think they are, nobody in this chat is as smart when it comes to the New York Giants as Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman. They know those players better than anybody else. They are privy to information a lot more than what we are. You get a lot of GMs, and we're all opinionated. I wanted a hog. I want a hog in the 1st or 2nd round. These are guys that evaluate the team. These are guys that determine what the needs are. They determined that last year they believe in the 3 offensive linemen that they drafted. They want them to grow. It's about continuity. This unit has not been built together for quite some time. There's been constant turnover, whether it's the linemen themselves, the offensive coordinator, the offensive line coach, and they have not been able to grow together. And I think that's what the New York Giants are trying to promote. And that's the clear sign that they showed after this draft when they didn't go after an offensive lineman.
Yeah, and again, I said it in the last video that I did about the Giants. We can criticize all we want. We can sit there and go, that wasn't right, this wasn't right, we should have done this, we should have done that. But as I said, at the end of the day, there's a reason that I'm sitting here doing this. The other content creators are doing what they're doing. The reason you guys are typing and saying what you're saying, there's a reason we're here and they're where they are. If we really knew what was going on and we really knew, we would be doing that job. But we don't do that job. There's a reason that we're making videos and that, we're on Twitter, Instagram, wherever, giving our opinions and not actually making the picks. It's always fun to try to guess where we're going to go or see how many you get right, or, and obviously people are never going to be, not everybody's going to be happy. That's impossible. It wouldn't have mattered what we did. If we went lineman, some people would have been pissed off they didn't go wide receiver. If we went lineman, some people are going to be pissed off that we didn't go Micah Parsons. If we went Micah Parsons, so many people would be pissed off we didn't go offensive. It doesn't matter. You can't please everybody. It's impossible. So you just have to roll with it. We got to hope that the offensive line is better. I was surprised. I really thought they were going to go Rashawn Slater, but obviously they didn't think he was worth the value at 11. They didn't think any lineman was worth the value at 42 or 50 when they made that trade. So Detonator, the booty man. Really? He says, Chris and Baddog, name a more iconic duo. Oh, wait, you the man. I
appreciate that, Detonator, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Let's get my man Cruz on. Really, thank you, sir. Really appreciate it. He says, I don't understand how anyone can have confidence in our pass blocking. I just watched the last game against the bad Cowboys defense. It wasn't good.
I agree with you.
Question mark.
I agree with you. It's by far the biggest question mark going into the year. I am not going to raise my hand and say, oh, I'm so pumped up. I think this offensive line is going to be dynamite. No, I'm going to try to find positives and hope that they're right, because at the end of the day, they believe in this offensive line. Otherwise, they would have drafted a lineman. That's what they told you. But do I right now? No. How could you? That's right. Blind. That's blind faith right now. We have not seen results. But what I will tell you, Cruz, and like I said in my video, is it possible that they could get a lot better this year? Yeah. Continuity, growing together as a young unit. You get a new offensive line coach in. You add better weapons on the outside. We're less predictable as an offense. Teams won't be able to pin their ears back as much as possible. You get Saquon Barkley back. So
there's a full off season.
You get a full off season. So there's factors why this line could improve this year, but I'd be lying to you if I told you that I completely am sold on this offensive line, and I know for a fact it's not going to ruin the offense. I can't say that. There's a lot of question marks going into the year with this line.
Definitely is. And again, that's the biggest question mark on the team, I think, outside of maybe players' health, is the offensive line. And again, as I mentioned, I don't know if you were in here, Cruzan, or not when I said it. I know Chris was letting his dog out, but I don't think there's one Giants fan that's going to sit here and tell you we think our offensive line is a finished product, because it's not. I'm hoping if this offensive line can get to average, this offense will be very good. We got to hope that it gets that far. Again, they did play well they played better the last 8 games of the season, and they were 5-3. Once Colombo was fired, it did seem like they got a little bit better. And again, like you said, Chris, with Saquon Barkley and other weapons, the defense can't just pin its ears back and go after Daniel Jones the entire time. So obviously health is going to be important for Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Kenny, all the guys. And we'll see what happens. Yuri, thank you for the super chat. Really. Ellison Smith was coached by former Defensive Player of the Year, Bryce Paup at Northern Iowa. Bryce Paup was a Bill. I remember Bill and Packer, right? He was a Bill and a Packer. Who they played? Thank you, sir. Brilliant. I really appreciate it. Trust the Gettleman process. Yeah, not much choice.
You don't have to trust them. Everybody's got their own opinion. You don't have to trust the Gettleman process, but I do think the New York Giants had a very good offseason. I'll say that.
Me too.
I would have focused on the offensive line. You guys know I love the Hogs, but I am not a guy that's just going to look at it from one way. There's other ways to improve a team, and you have to hope that the line grows. Kind of like I said in my video yesterday, that line back in, the mid-2000s, they didn't have any first-round talents on that line. They grew together as a unit. They learned to play together as one, and we have to hope that there was growing pains last year, and this unit's going to take a big step up this year. Definitely.
I see the end. He says, "Sup, Baddog? Remember me? Yeah, you're Frank the Gambler. You're Frank Gambler. I just recognized the thumbnail. That's my man, Frank Gambler, right there. That's a good trash talk. That's good.
Gambler's the man. I love Gambler.
Gambler's a good trash talker. Abe, thank you for the super chat. Really. Ace and Gary, the ambiguously gay. Just kidding. That was that Saturday Night Live? What was that from? It was
the ambiguously gay deal.
Okay.
Saturday Night Live. Yeah, it was the claymation. It was claymation.
Okay, yeah. I couldn't remember what show it was from, but I do. JD, thank you for the super chat. Really. Stand up for the dog pound. Having a Corona with my mom. That's awesome. Happy Mother's Day to all. Let's hear a bold prediction of any kind from each. Cheers.
Go ahead, Ben Doug. I'll let you start on this one.
Bold prediction. Azeez Ojulari, double-digit sacks in his rookie season.
That is quite bold. That is quite bold. I like it. I do think he fits the scheme, and I think he's going to get opportunity. And happy Mother's Day to you. Well, happy Mother's Day to your mother, JD. As far as my bold prediction, Dan Jones is going to throw for over 30 touchdowns.
Yes, I like it.
I think he's going to have a good year. I honestly believe that. I'm going to go Dan Jones throws for 30 touchdowns.
Hopefully both of them come true. We'll have a hell of a season, Chris.
Yeah.
Cheers to you, Gambler, my man. Paisano. What's going on, Gambler? Hope you're doing well, sir. Frank Nataro, thank you for the super chat. Really should call the Knicks versus Lakers. Can't do it. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Two guys doing an NBA game, we're going to step all over each other.
I would love to do it. It's very hard because the only way you could really do it is you alternate the play-by-play, but then Baddog's audience is going to want Baddog doing the play-by-play because they're accustomed to it.
Vice versa.
A Laker audience isn't going to want to hear a Knick guy going crazy when the Knicks are scoring. So,
well, I do kind of go crazy when I'm scoring. But other than that, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, it's hard. It's hard. Baseball, we're going to do it, but basketball, it's hard.
Yeah. Baseball and football are easy because there's breaks and you can do a lot of things. But basketball, it is just because you can sit there and go play. But what if there's a steal? It's really difficult to do basketball when you're not able to broadcast the game, because when you can see the game, those guys don't need to talk about the game the whole time. They don't need to do the play-by-play. They can just kind of sit there and do whatever because you're watching it, and they do. They'll discuss a bunch of things in the middle of a play. They're not going to sit here dribbling up to the half court, bringing it up to the top of the circle, swinging it around into the corner, now back to the top of the circle, back to the key, and all this other stuff, driving baseline. They don't need to do all that. Yeah. They can just talk and then go, Chris Paul with a baseline jump shot, whatever.
Yeah. So, yeah.
DJ Smooth, thank you for the super chat. Really. Chris, what's up, my man? Sorry, the Suns and Nets fans got you off live.
Oh, it was just 1:30 in the morning, 1 in the morning, and I just didn't feel like dealing with the nonsense. All of a sudden, Baddog, as soon as the game's over, all the Suns fans start chirping, the Nets fans start chirping.
Yeah. Oh, you're getting those too?
Oh yeah, and
that's how you know the Knicks are good.
And I said to myself, okay, I'm gonna go to bed. I don't need to talk about this anymore. So I went to bed.
I've been getting that all year, and it's funny. Nets fans going into a Knicks stream. Okay, rivals, New York rivals. I get it. Why the hell do they come into the Lakers stream? They come in there and talk about the Lakers. I'm like, you worry about getting out of the East. And then I tell people in the chat, I'm like, just type 126 to 101 there. Shut up. Because the Lakers didn't have half their team when we beat them by, the Lakers beat them by 25. So I'm like telling them that. But yeah, they're scared of the Knicks, and they should be. They should be scared of this. Brooklyn ain't getting out of the East.
I kind of agree with that. We'll see, though. We'll see.
Fix the O-line. Let's get back to football. Fix the O-line. Brilly. Yeah, he says, Reggie Ragland, under the radar, great signing. I loved him coming out of Alabama.
I like the Reggie Ragland signing. I don't think he's going to start every game, and I think he'll be used situationally. But for what we paid for him, I think it was a really good signing. He's really good against the run, and I think he's an improvement over Mayo. So I think it was a good signing.
Yeah, I definitely is an improvement over Mayo. And I always liked Ragland. He's kind of just had a disappointing year, or disappointing career so far, but I wanted the Giants to draft Reggie Ragland, actually, because when I do my Eli Apple rant video, I actually say hopefully today they draft Reggie Ragland. I liked him a lot, and we needed a linebacker back then, as we always have seemed to need one since the LT and Carl Banks days. But, it is what it is. Hopefully Ojolari can be that guy. Johnny Laterno, Brilly. Stella, Baddog, and stand up, Tainah. Y'all are the best. How can we be the best when you're the best? Hope Daniel Jones still struggles with decision-making. Eagles will put your paper team in check, but Giants fans need something to grasp on. Well, you're not even good on paper, Johnny, so I don't know what you're talking about. Love you, buddy.
I'm not gonna lie, Baddog. I'm not worried about the Eagles, and maybe they'll prove me wrong. Maybe they'll make me look like a fool this year. I'm going in confident against the Eagles. DeVonta Smith, I'm not worried. Like, our secondary, we're going to shut him down. Jalen Hurts, I'm not worried. That team does not scare me. I'm sorry. I think the Giants are a much better football team.
We're going to get into that in 1 second. And Anthony Kivler, they give it a super chat. Really says, let's get the Eagles first. Let's go G-Men 10-11 wins. That'd be awesome. I don't think we're getting the Eagles first. I think we're getting Washington. I think the schedule was leaked.
I think that was false, though, from what I heard.
Okay, good.
I think it was false. I have a feeling, and I could be completely wrong. I can't wait till the schedule comes out. I think the schedule comes out in 5 days or 4 days.
Tuesday, right?
2 days from tomorrow. I'm going to live stream that. So I don't know what time it comes out, but I have a feeling that we're going to get the Bucs week 1, prime time. I just have a feeling. It's a big market, New York. We're playing the Bucs, I think, in Tampa. I just have a feeling.
Yeah. Well,
I hope not. I want to get more of it because it seems like every year we get a bear of a schedule to start the year, whether it's playing the Cowboys on the road.
Always.
The Steelers last year when they had all the experience and we were an inexperienced team. So I'm hoping we get more. I hope we get the Eagles. But I have a feeling we're going to get the Bucs.
Sox, Arizona, Brilly. Thank you, my man. He says, go Big Blue. Let's go Big Blue. Always. Star Screamers, thank you, my man. Brilly. Well, these Eagle YouTubers keep thinking they hoodwinked the Giants in a draft. Past week, that's all I talked about. Giants, man, blah, blah. I'm glad you brought that up because that's going to segue right into what I'm going to talk about here. It's funny to me how there's Eagle fans in here. And yeah, I don't know why Eagle fans think we're mad. I have had a hard time understanding this the entire time. I may still clip the part when the Eagles drafted him of us doing our live stream because you will hear me blatantly say, Chris and I were surprised that the Eagles and Cowboys traded. That was a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
DeVonta Smith wasn't. And you'll hear me a number of times, at least twice, say, I'm not concerned about it.
You know what's funny, Baddog? And I went back and watched the reaction, and I was very transparent about DeVonta Smith the entire way through. You could go, and it is, so nobody could say that I'm lying. Yep. You go all the way back to my first mock draft. I said that he was far and away the third best wide receiver of these three. I much preferred Jalen Waddle. I would have been happy with DeVonta Smith, but I had question marks. And I would have been happy if he was a Giant, but he's not a guy I'm going to lose sleep over. He's not a guy I'm going to flip out over that the New York Giants got jumped. That's just my honest opinion of him as a prospect. And what was funny was I went back, I looked at Pizzle's reaction. Pizzle acted like it was the end of the world. And not just him, I'm not picking on Pizzle, but a lot of Giants fans, we didn't react that way. We were kind of like, okay, let's see what happens now.
Right.
And then when we traded down, a lot of Giants fans flipped out. We were like, look what we got.
Yep.
Look what we got. I'm excited. And I'm not saying that the Eagles were the reason that whatever. They went up, they got their guy, they're happy about it. More power to them. But I'm happy with what we ended up with. If you would have told me before the draft, you're going to end up with Kadarius Toney, you're going to end up with a future first from the Bears in 2022, you're going to end up with a future fourth and a current fifth in this draft, or you're going to get Smith, I probably would have taken Toney. I'm not super high on Smith. I think the Bears pick could easily be a top 10 pick. So I'm happy we got the trade down. So both teams could be happy. I'm sure Eagles fans are happy as well. They want to rub our face in it. I wasn't crying that we didn't get DeVonta Smith.
I wasn't crying about it either. You don't rebuild with a wide receiver. They have much, 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 much bigger issues like their crappy quarterback that they need to worry about. Justin Fields was sitting there. Now, if you can imagine Justin Fields having a really good career or a really big rookie season for the Bears, and they're sitting there with Jalen Hurts, who is trash. And I say this all the time because I always laugh when the Eagles fans are like, Danny fumbles. And number one, Carson Wentz fumbled more than any quarterback in football since his inception into the NFL. That was a fact. So he always had fumbling problems. Then I found a stat. Daniel Jones fumbled once every 40 passing attempts last year. Jalen Hurts fumbled once every 16 and a half pass attempts last year. The dude started 4 games. He had like maybe 6 or 8 pass attempts in the first 12 games. And he fumbled 9 times. The guy fumbled 9 times.
But you don't hear about it.
You know, they're all, Danny fumbles this, Danny fumbles that. He had a higher interception percentage than Daniel Jones. That team sucks.
And I'm not just pointing to the Eagles fans either, by the way, when it comes to the pointing out of the fumbling. Where's the media? Because that's all you heard from ESPN. That's all you heard from Fox. But all the national media, Jones has a fumbling problem. Yep. Jalen Hurts had 9 fumbles in 4 starts.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz fumbled just as much as Jones did.
Then you got idiot trolls on my page going, Daniel Jones only had 1 game in his career where he didn't turn it over. I'm like, hey, he had 3 last year where he didn't turn it over. He didn't turn it over against the second game against Philly. He didn't turn it over against Baltimore. And I forgot what the other team was, Cincinnati. He didn't turn the ball over 3 games last year. But this is the type of crap that they come at. But I just find it funny that, like I said in the video, when I said we were, Kadarius Toney, Urban Meyer didn't, wanted him or whatever, so it wasn't that big of a reach. And I said at the end of it, Eagles are more concerned about sticking it to the Giants and winning football games. They're going to suck. A team is 4-11-1. They did nothing to get better. And yet they still talk shit about the Giants. We're not even saying anything about Philadelphia. I respond to them, right? We didn't blow this out of proportion. I didn't care that they got DeVonta Smith. I still don't care that they got DeVonta Smith. The dude's 160 pounds. I didn't even realize how tiny that guy was until I saw him in a suit. I said, my God, that guy is really skinny, really, really, really skinny. And he's not fast for a guy that size. He's a 4.45 guy.
He's a great route runner. He's got good leaps. He runs like a deer. He's gonna be a good receiver.
I'm not saying that he's not good.
Yeah, but am I shaking in my boots because the Eagles got DeVonta Smith? No, I think you could go back and look months before the draft. I do not think a wide receiver was a good pick for the Philadelphia Eagles.
No,
I don't. This is a team that, in my opinion, that should be rebuilding. They're a team that they should have, in my opinion, they should have either taken a quarterback. If they believe in Hurts, that's great. Stick with Hurts.
They don't, Chris, because they tried to trade up.
They tried to trade up. But if they do, I'm sure there are fans in here that believe in Hurts and they feel like they should have stuck with Hurts. Okay. Should have taken an offensive lineman then. I don't think a wide receiver is the answer.
All Eagle fans are saying, you're mad. Number one, no Giants fan is mad about that at all.
Yeah.
Not mad at all. Because I'm glad that we got the draft haul that we got. But that's all they say, you're mad. No, actually, Eagles fans are mad. Eagles fans are mad because they'll talk all this crap, and then a guy like me will come back and I'll counterpunch and I'll knock you the hell out. Because when I talk crap, you're going down, and everybody knows it. And then they get mad. They get mad because I respond because we're just supposed to sit there and take it. But that's not me. So when I come out there and lay somebody the hell out, then they get mad. They get ticked off because I speak facts about the Philadelphia Eagles. They don't. They don't speak facts. They see one Giants fan, think every Giants fan reacted that way. It's just not the case. No. It's not the case at all. I didn't care. And I still don't care. And the quarterback is trash, and he's going to be trash. Your offensive line is trash. You got a guy that couldn't stay healthy. He's had 2 ACL tears. Good luck with him. And then your rest of your draft was trash. We all saw when the Giants traded up to get Aaron Robinson, they got pissed off in the war room. They never got a corner.
To be fair, you know what? I'm going to be honest with Eagles fans. And you go back, watch the stream. Yes, you guys wanted the corner that we got. I love the player that the Eagles got in the 3rd round. As a matter of fact, Milton Williams was a guy that I really liked, and I thought it was a good pickup by the Eagles. So I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to be fair there, but was not a need of theirs. They do have strong interior defensive line play, but I think Milton Williams is going to be very good. So I think that was a good pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. But it was funny to see it. It was funny to see them flip out.
They did have one more good pick. I thought Gainwell was a good pick for them.
Yeah.
Now they signed Kerryon Johnson, and they're all, oh my God, look at it, we're great, got Kerryon Johnson. You know how many times that guy fumbled in his career? What? He fumbled at Auburn too. Is no surprise. Let me get to some of these. JD, thank you for the super chat. Brilly says, you talk about getting an immediate test to the decision of the Giants not going offensive line or free agent draft. If we start with Washington, that decision will be tested.
No,
I think so. Yeah. Fiery Earthquake, Brilly says, saw that BS Instagram. Philly fans are obsessed. And you saw my response, right? And then they all got mad. How can you talk? How can you say anything about the Giants franchise? How? Who is ahead of you? Who finished ahead of who last year? Who won the last game last year?
In recent history, they've had our number.
They have.
I get that. But overall, throughout history, yeah, we own them. We own them. The Super Bowl speak for themselves.
Lord Brunson. Brilly, sir. Good to see you in here, Lord Brunson. He talking a lot of crap about Giants. LB, we'll hash it out over the course of the season, my man. We got to work together again because I like working with LB. He says content creators aren't mad. Giants brasses. Conflicting reports. There's some reports say no. No, I'm just saying there's some reports that said no. They were interested in Waddle, and then there's some reports that say the Giants are pissed off that happened. So I don't know which one is which. I really don't.
Yeah, here's what I'm going to say to that. When it comes to the media and them saying that the Giants brass are pissed off, yada, 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 it may be true. Maybe. We'll never know. What I'm going to say is New York media tries to stir up drama, and they always try to make it seem like the world is coming to an end, and because that's what sells. Drama sells. And Lord Brunson knows that. He covers the Eagles. I'm sure the same thing happens at Philadelphia. Sure it does. But I think that has a lot to do with it. I think the New York Giants came in with a calculated plan. That's my honest opinion. I think they knew from the start of the draft if DeVonta Smith wasn't there. I do think that was their guy. I thought it was their guy since my first mock draft, February 1st. But I think they knew if Smith wasn't there, they had a trade in place with the Chicago Bears if a quarterback was going to be there that the Bears wanted, and they acted accordingly. I don't think they panicked. I don't think that they were freaking out. I think they wanted to make sure they got a weapon for Jones when they traded down, and they helped the future of this football team.
Yep, that's exactly it. They had a plan. Because it's very possible that DeVonta Smith went 7 to the Lions. That's very possible.
Yeah.
Because they could have used a receiver. They lost Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay. It's very possible that all 3 of those guys are gone, not including that, not considering that the Eagles jumped up ahead of them, but still it's very possible. And the Eagles did that, I believe, or Dallas did that rather because a corner wasn't there. Because I believe if a corner's there, if Surtain falls there or J.C. Horn is there, they don't make that trade, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree with that.
Talk about the Giants wanting J.C. Horns. If J.C. Horns there, Dallas ain't going to move behind the Giants.
I agree with that. If Denver or Carolina really was the surprise. If Carolina doesn't take a corner, the Giants would more than likely have taken DeVonta Smith at 11.
Yep, I agree. Yeah. DJ, thank you for the super chat, brother. Brilly. Chris, what makes you have faith that Jones and what's y'all bold prediction of week 1? And I have no faith in DJ. My only concern, we need Rodgers. I don't really have a bold prediction week 1. I don't know who we're playing.
Yeah, I don't know who we're playing week 1. I mean, in terms of my bold prediction of who we're going to play, I said it earlier. I said the Bucks in Tampa Bay underneath the lights. But what makes me have faith in Jones? It's more me having faith in the overall improvement of the offense than Jones himself. I do. Last year, even though the stats don't indicate it, and some people may call me crazy because they just look at stats, they don't look at the game by game. I thought Jones, in a lot of areas, improved as a quarterback. I really do. You saw it later in the year as it progressed. You saw him start to audible out of plays. I saw him get a lot better with that. I remember there was one player in particular where he audibled out of play and he hit Ingram down the sideline when he anticipated the blitz. To me, he was starting to show signs of growth as a quarterback. Was he there yet? No. And I think he had 2 or 3 games where you were really starting to see some progression. And then he got the injury, and he wasn't the same quarterback after that. He played very good in the Eagles game. When he didn't have the mobility, he wasn't the same quarterback. He just wasn't.
And
now, do I think – yeah, go ahead, Ben.
I was going to say, they said that injury was a lot more serious than they thought it was.
Yeah.
Than they said it was.
Yeah. Judge said that. Do I think Daniel Jones is a superstar? No, he's got to prove that to me. He's nowhere near that yet. But I do think with the improved weaponry around him, yes, I think he's going to have a good year. I think you have to factor in no Barkley. No Barkley changed everything for Jones and this offense. I say it all the time. 10 starts with Barkley. He's a 23 touchdown, 8 interception quarterback. 17 starts without him. He's got 12 touchdowns and 14 picks. Yeah. So having Barkley in this lineup changed the whole dynamic of the offense. It makes Jones's life a lot easier. Now you tack on Kenny Golladay. Now you add Kadarius Toney. You had more familiarity in the scheme year 2 with Garrett, a full offseason to prepare in it. Yeah, I think Jones is going to have a good year. I'm not saying he's going to have an incredible year. And you also got to realize 17 games, 30 touchdowns is more like 28 touchdowns in a 16-game season. And his rookie, everybody forgets he was on pace to throw 32 touchdowns had he played 16 games. It's not like it's that wild to think the guy could throw 30 touchdowns with the weapons that we have.
Right. Joshy Washy, thank you for the super chat. Really, last time Giants traded back was 2006 with Ernie Accorsi.
Okay. So there you go. Yeah, it's not often, but okay. Okay.
Lord Brunson, thank you for the super chat. Really, DJ had 7 games without a touchdown pass. Talk about it. I talked about it all last year. He pissed me off. There's nothing you're telling me that I don't know. I came out, made a video that said I don't think he's the guy. So
I'll tell you. Well, first off, he wasn't super impressive. Let's start there. Secondly, I thought the game plan for the Giants, and I think Baddog and myself actually agreed that this was the proper game plan. Not so much not to throw touchdowns, but I think the game plan for the Giants on a week in, week out basis was Joe Judge was smart enough to realize, hey, we got no weapons. Barkley's out. The strength of this team is the defense. The New York Giants played a lot more conservative, and it worked. The second half of the year, they played a lot more conservative. They ran the ball a lot more. They threw the ball a lot less, and they played clock management. And that was their best opportunity to win football games because of the inabilities to create big plays with this offense. I mean, our best playmaker was Golden Tate, Darius Slayton. Evan Ingram was dropping balls.
And I think Dante Pettis, Austin Mack, who was an undrafted free agent.
I think the Giants realized they can't get into shootouts and win football games, so they tried to run the ball a lot and control the clock.
So that's why we're a great duo. I just come out and say, yeah, I said he sucked, and Chris breaks it down. That's why this works out really good. Sticky fingertips, thank you for the super chat. Billy says, I got bullied by y'all for not wanting Smith. I don't remember anybody bullying you for not wanting Smith. But he said, so because I never mentioned anywhere along the way. I would have been happy.
I think he might be talking about Giants fans.
Maybe.
I always said it. I thought they were taking Smith, but I preferred Slater.
Yeah, so I preferred Waddle. I mean,
I preferred Waddle.
Parsons or Pitts.
Yeah, we were going wide receiver. I preferred Waddle, but I never bullied anybody with that. I wouldn't have been upset at all if we didn't get Smith.
Me neither. But he says, so happy Philly took him. Looks like he got stuck in his mom at birth, and the doctor just kept yanking and yanking. He is very slight. He is very slight. Christian Cologne, thank you for the super chat. Really, Jalen can't hit the broadside of a barn hurts. Listen, you know it's bad, Chris. He played at Oklahoma, and I obviously watched every game when he played there, and he was so bad at passing that when he would throw the ball, I'd be screaming, Lincoln Riley, why aren't you running? Why isn't he running more? He should run more. Jalen Hurts should run more. Run him, because that's his best attribute. He's not a good passer at all. He's not. And I don't know how many times I got to say this to Eagle fans. Him going to Philadelphia has nothing to do with my thoughts on Jalen Hurts. You can ask Chris. I said all along, he's a 4th-round talent. I don't like him. I don't think he's going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. I said that way before the draft, that I was not high on Jalen Hurts.
That is completely factual. That was long before he was a Philadelphia Eagle.
Yeah. The fact he is an Eagle now makes it even more fun, but yeah, I doubt it had nothing to do. It's not like all of a sudden he went to Philly and I'm like, he sucks. Like, I'm not sitting there going and saying DeVonta Smith is going to suck at all. I just think that was the wrong pick for Philadelphia. And I also think that they took him just to steal him from the Giants. And that's
to be fair,
how you draft.
And to be fair, we had the same criticisms for the Falcons. We thought that Pitts was the wrong
Yes.
pick for the Falcons. We had the same criticism for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yep,
we thought that they should have taken Penei Sewell. So it wasn't just the Eagles specific. But yeah, I do not think a wide receiver was the right pick for the Eagles in this draft.
Because you don't rebuild by drafting. And then the Eagles fans were like, well, we got 3 first-round picks. You don't, because you don't know what Carson Wentz is going to do. That could be a second-round pick. You don't have 3 guaranteed first-round picks. You don't. You could end up with 3 first-round picks. But if Carson Wentz plays all the games, Indianapolis is probably going to be pretty good. Miami's probably going to be pretty good. Those are probably going to be in the 20s. And I would like my chances better to say Miami and Indianapolis have a better record than the Bears this year.
Oh, so we'll see.
Christopher, thank you for the super chat. Really, really go Giants. Should we be concerned about DJ's health going forward? What are both your thoughts on that? You can start on that.
Yeah, he's missed 4 games over the last 2 years, 2 games each. I don't know if I'm concerned with his health, because it's not like either one of these injuries have been like, career debilitating injuries. They've been ankle sprains. But the one thing I will say is he has to learn to get down, and he needs to learn when to give up on plays, because if he does keep taking these hits, he doesn't slide, he doesn't get down, eventually it will be a serious injury. So in terms of his body and the fact that he's been hurt with these injuries the last 2 years, no, I'm not concerned that it's going to lead to crazy injuries or something like that. But his style of play, I think, could lend itself to more injuries in the future if he does not learn to hone that in a little bit. So I guess yes and no at the same time. My answer to your question.
I'm always worried about the quarterback getting hurt, especially a mobile quarterback. I don't think it's because of his mobility. I think it's just been kind of bad luck. Like, I don't even really remember when he sprained his ankle. I don't remember what exactly happened to him when he sprained his ankle. Either time, to be honest, I don't remember it being like, I can't really remember what happened.
I remember the first one actually better than the second one. The first one I think was against the Packers in the snow, and he was running up the middle for about a 5-yard gain, and he kind of awkwardly landed on his ankle. I remember that one pretty vividly. The second one I don't remember as well.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm concerned about his health. We need him. I mean, you can say he's no good, blah, blah, blah. That's fine, but he's better than Mike Glennon. Daniel Jones needs a full season as a Saquon Barkley. I'm more concerned about Saquon Barkley's health than Daniel Jones's.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah. Jonathan Turno, you the man. Brilly says, I have to defend my Eagles like y'all defending your Giants, but the competitiveness is what I enjoy. Respect y'all. Football IQ is great. I'm not delusional, but the results come from the actions, not trash. Fly Eagles into the side of a building. Yeah. No, I mean,
no, you're right. You're right, John, because I'm going to practice what I preach. I said it last year. Talk is cheap. When everybody was talking trash about the Giants before the year started, talk is cheap. We'll see the results when they go out there and play football. So you're right. At the end of the day, this is all nonsense for 3 months until we actually see how these teams develop.
But that is what's fun. That's what makes it fun, especially in this division. Because I feel like maybe outside of the NFC North, where you got the Packers and the Bears, I feel like the best rivalries are in this division. It's the most historical division there is. There's 13 championships here. It's the only division where each team has won one. Finally, Philadelphia got one finally. We're waiting for you forever. But, they've won almost a quarter of the Super Bowls. They've played in like 20. And it's a damn good division. And it's embarrassing the way it was last year. And you hope, as a fan, that the division's that close and we're all 9, 10, and 11 win teams. That would be much more fun than 6, 7, and 5 win teams. Yeah. I
got a pretty hot take. I think I'm going to make a video on it tomorrow, but I got a pretty hot take about this division. I think it's going to be a lot better than people think next year.
And the Eagles will still win their 4 games. So that'll
the Eagles, not so much. I'm not trying to piss Eagles fans off, but I think the top 3
I am. I'm trying to piss them off. I'm not gonna lie. LA Lou, thank you for the super chat. Really says New York sports are on the upswing. It's needed.
They are. It's not where we want it yet, but it's definitely you're as a Knicks fan, as a Giants fan, even as a Mets fan, Yankees fans are never happy. Unless you win. Rangers, yeah, you see the vision of these teams, and they're starting to build properly,
which is good.
Even the Jets as well. They had a great draft.
They did. We'll see if it pans out. They're the Jets.
Yeah,
they did it right this year. They did have a good draft. Yeah. Justin, thank you, my man. Brilly. He says in the last 8 games, Jones played in 6 with limited mobility. As seen in the Cards game, he had 1 interception, 6 fumbles, only 2 lost. Well, half of them were in that Cardinals game when he had no prayer with Hassan Reddick coming off the edge and killing him.
The lost fumble stat to me, when you really look at it, he was not bad with lost fumbles this past year. When you really look at it, he lost 6 fumbles. One was on a handoff to Wayne Gallman that hit both of his hands like this. Gallman's the one who fumbled it. They credited
Ingram on the double reverse. He pitched
the other was a pitch to Ingram that people hate. Danny Jones said, "Oh, it was a missed pitch where it was right here and it hit both of Ingram's hands." The fumble went against Jones, so that now you're down to 4 for the whole year that you could credit against Jones. One of them was on the strip sack by DeMarcus Lawrence, where Andrew Thomas completely whipped on the block, and Lawrence obliterated Jones from the blind side within a second, and the Cowboys picked it up and I think ran it in for a touchdown. So maybe 2 were or 3 were like Jones's true fault. It was a big improvement over the previous year.
I agree. Stompo, thank you for the super chat. Brilly. By the way, we got 557 in here. You guys and girls are absolute legends. Do us a favor, man. Hit the like button for the stream. That always helps out the stream. You can smack that like button. It always helps out. It's free to do. Or you can subscribe to this channel. That'd be great. But most importantly, make sure if you haven't done so, you go into the description, sum up the Up Tainah Talking Sports. This link's right there. We'll be doing this show on his channel next week. If you are new to this channel, just happen to catch the show tonight. We do this every week. We alternate channels. We also stream every Giants game together, and we alternate channels for that. We cover the draft together, so we work together a lot. So hey, we're kind of a package deal, if you will, or whatever. But hit that subscribe, ring the bell. We really appreciate you guys and girls being here. Support on this show is overwhelming, and we absolutely love you for it. So thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Stompo says, "What do you want to happen if Jones isn't the guy of the future?" You get a quarterback, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's a tough question to answer, though. Yes, the quick answer, Baddog, is get a quarterback. But there's more, details that could come with that. Where are we picking in the draft? How do the Giants feel about that class of quarterbacks? You never want to force a quarterback pick.
Nope.
Ever. What quarterbacks are available via the trade market? It's funny, and I've come out and said that the Aaron Rodgers stuff is nonsense this year. But it's funny, you go back a month ago, and I think it was on this show, I was talking about the hypothetical scenario, which I don't see it happening. I think Jones, like I've said, is going to have a pretty good year this year, and I think we're going to go forward for a 4th year. But if Jones sucked this year, and the Giants were picking in the middle of the draft, let's say the Bears pick wasn't that high, and they weren't in love with trading up for a quarterback in next year's draft, then you explore the trade market to try to bring in a quarterback. So it's very hard to answer that question. I don't know how they feel about the quarterbacks. I don't know what quarterbacks are available via trade. We're not going to be able to sign one. We have no money in free agency next year. We backloaded all the contracts. So I need to know the situation the New York Giants are in. If they're picking first, we're taking a quarterback. You're going to be in the same situation the Jets were. And life in the NFL, Baddog, for the quarterback is not fair. It's not. I say it all the time. It was not fair for Sam Darnold. Wasn't. Sam Darnold got screwed, even though a lot of it was probably his own doing. I don't watch every Jet game. But he did not get set up properly. But at the end of the day, if you don't have your answer going into year 4 of the rookie salary of your quarterback, which in this scenario we wouldn't with Jones, and you have the ability to reset the rookie clock, you do it. So, whether or not the offensive line is more to blame this year, it doesn't matter. You cannot go into year 4 if you have the chance to take a guy that you feel is a game-changing franchise quarterback and reset that rookie clock. So my answer to you, if we're picking top 3 or 4, we're taking a quarterback next year.
I agree. Real quick to you Nets fans, losing 52-35 to Denver. I just wanted to update you. Jeremiah, thank you for the super chat, brother. Billy. He says, yo, gents, I see LB bringing smoke. See, I can respect a guy like LB that brings the smoke. You know why? Because LB makes videos and LB puts his face out there. I can respect content creators that are ballsy enough to stick their face out there and make their opinions known. And people can always go back to them and go, you were wrong about this, you were wrong about that. I can respect that. And I've worked with LB a number of times, and I like working with LB. And that's part of the fun is talking trash back and forth. Unlike this other guy who sits here and says, that's not true. Hurts played in 15 games. There was 9 fumbles in 15 games. Yeah, taking a snap or running the ball twice in one game, and it's 15 games. It's once every 16 and a half pass attempts. So put it in your pipe and smoke it. I don't care if you want to say it's 15 games, 9 games, 3 games, 4 games, once every 16 and a half pass attempts. Over the course of a year, a normal quarterback, that is going to be about 45 fumbles. So get the hell out of here. Go to sleep. Go have your mom cut the crust off your peanut butter and jelly sandwich. have her tuck you in, whatever. You're out of your league when you're trying to trash talk me. You're out of your league. That's the same guy that said Daniel Jones only had one game in his career that he didn't turn the ball over, and I proved that fact wrong. So go. And you know what? You can hold my broom next year and we sweep your ass. How about that? Anyway, Joseph, thank you for the super chat. Really says DJ's the man. Rebuild's basically done. Go Giants.
We hope it's done. We hope it's done.
That offensive line,
yeah.
I don't know if that.
We hope it's done. We hope it's done.
That's done yet. I don't know if that's done yet. We'll see. DJ, thank you for the super chat, my man. Brilly, brother. So Saquon Barkley is the star. Also Jones did suck last year. Basically, he needs to be an all-pro running back to be successful. Stop Chris, he sucks. Alex Smith is not bad, DJ Smooth. I hope that Daniel Jones is as good as Alex Smith.
Baddog, answer me this. Who's Aaron Rodgers' best receiver?
Jordy Nelson.
Well, I'm saying right now.
Oh,
DeVonta Adams.
Who's the guy? Scantling? Marcus Scantling? What the hell is that guy?
Valdez Scantling.
Scantling.
But his best receiver is obviously DeVonta Adams. Who's Josh Allen's best receiver?
Stephon Diggs.
Okay. Who's Patrick Mahomes' best receiver?
Tyreek Hill.
Okay. Let's keep going. Name another elite quarterback. Russell Wilson. Who's his best receiver?
DK Metcalf.
So what are we getting at here? Every one of these quarterbacks.
What about Drew Brees in his career? Is it Michael Thomas?
Michael Thomas, right? And throughout his career, he had great receivers. So what are we getting at here? Every quarterback has weapons that help him. Last year, Daniel Jones was throwing to Darius Slayton. That was his number one option.
And Austin Mack.
And Evan Ingram, who dropped 11 balls. Yeah. So, yeah.
He needs help. Half of Daniel Jones' interceptions, by the way.
So, yeah, he needs help. Like every other quarterback, he needs weapons. Yes.
I agree. DJ, I did that one already. But listen, if he's Alex Smith, I think that's his ceiling. Rich man's Alex Smith. Alex Smith was a winner. Alex Smith rarely turned the ball over. Alex Smith, he's got the same skill set as Alex Smith. Daniel Jones with a better team around him can win games. Alex Smith was leading the 49ers to a Super Bowl before he got hurt and Kaepernick took over. So, and then he went to Kansas City and he won 10 to 12 games every year. He's not Pat Mahomes, but he's good enough. And that's all Daniel Jones needs to be. He needs to be good enough. And if he's Alex Smith, that's good enough. This team will win a lot of games if he plays like Alex Smith. Karan Preet Gill, thank you for the super chat. Really, top 5 middle linebackers in the league. I couldn't even answer that question.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to look at depth charts to give you an honest answer on that. I can name a few, but I don't think if you're asking is Martinez a top 5 linebacker, I'd probably say no, but he's close. No. He had a really good year last year, but I mean, I give you a couple names. There's no way I give you a full top 5 without looking over everybody's roster. Yeah,
same here. I couldn't possibly. The top 5 stuff, even if you're asking me like top 5, whatever, top 5 Giants receivers, I'd have a hard time telling. I'm not good with giving top 5s or whatever. It's just tough. Church of Delicious Meat, Brilly, who weighs more, DeVonta Smith or Kid Blue?
Kid Blue.
I bet you they're close.
Kid Blue. I think Kid Blue's got him by a couple of pounds.
I bet you they're close. The Tad that shouldn't be. Brilly, or Alphabet, as he's belovedly called, says, don't worry so much about Jones hurting himself being a running quarterback. There are dozens of well-known quarterbacks who have done that for decades and had long careers. Yeah, it's just, I think you're more injury prone when you're out of the pocket because you obviously are going to get hit more if you don't know how to slide. But
it's his style of play that I think makes him, you worry about it. You look at guys like Murray and Wilson, like you said, former baseball players.
Yep.
They know how to get down and avoid injuries.
Mahomes another one.
Yeah.
His dad was a baseball player, but.
Yeah. Steve Young knew how to get down. So even though he took a ton of concussions, you have to learn how to protect your body. He's got to get better at that.
Yep. I agree. So I got that one. Johnny Laterno, the Phillies ace, Brilly says, that's why you guys didn't get duped by my Eagles. Sad to say those moves made, and 90% of the revolves around the success of Jones. I think that 90% of a lot of offensive moves depend on the success of the quarterback.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. The success of the quarterback will depend on the parts around him as well.
There is no position in any sport, in my opinion, that is more dependent on the pieces around them than the quarterback spot.
Yeah.
That's my honest opinion. And he also influences them as well, but they need help. The quarterback needs help, the offensive line, the wide receivers, the running back, so on and so forth.
I agree. Simon, thank you for the super chat, brother. Really. Mets win again. We also got DeGrom tomorrow. Let's go, Mets.
Yeah, they were winning, I think, 4-1 or 4-2 when I went live. I was watching it right before I came on with Baddog. So, yeah, man, we're starting to roll. I think now we're 2 games over, and hopefully DeGrom keeps it going.
Yeah, the Yankees doing the same thing. The Yankees decided they were going to start rolling as well here, although they dropped a couple. But
raccoon or a rat, Baddog?
What's that?
Did you hear about that? The Met fight last night? Raccoon or a rat? You didn't hear about it?
No.
Oh,
I didn't hear about it.
Oh, it's hysterical. Francisco Lindor and Jeff McNeil was like a big thing. Got in like a big scuffle in the dugout, and it was off camera. And you saw all the Mets rush to the like the locker room area from the dugout. It looked as if they were probably punching each other. Like everybody was panicking. And after the game, Lindor was asked what happened. He said they got into an argument about whether or not there was an animal that was a rat or a raccoon. And that was like the big thing. And the Mets had memes of it at the game. It sounded like complete bullshit. I think they got into a fist fight, but it was pretty funny when you saw Lindor talk about it. Look it up on YouTube after.
I will have to look it up on you. Lindor is struggling.
He hit a home run yesterday, though. Did it home run.
Yeah, but he's struggling. I hope that Mets curse don't get him, man. I say it all the time, man, and I got no problem with the Mets. I like I said, when the Yankees aren't there, I root for the Mets. But it just seems like they make all the right moves, and those guys come in there and they just never perform. I don't know what it is. And hopefully Lindor's not that guy. They gave him a ton of money. So hopefully he continues. That's funny because the Yankees had all these wins going. And then it was like, oh, we got Garrett Cole going today. And then, of course, Chad Green blows it in the 8th inning. So it happens. But Dr. Suss, I missed your super chat. Let me see if I can go back and find it. I'm not going to be able to get it on StreamYard. So
who was it?
Dr. Suss.
I'll see if I can find it. Dr. Suss. Dr. Suss. The Church of Delicious Meat. You got that.
Oh, there it is. I do see it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dr. Suss. Bro, thank you for the super chat. Brilly. He says, which O-lineman do you think will take the biggest jump? That's actually a good question.
I'm going to go Andrew Thomas. I mean, I think Thomas is going to play at a near Pro Bowl level this year. I think he was playing much better over the second half. He had a foot injury last year. And I think he's clearly got the most talent of any member on this line. He was 4th overall pick. So I'll go Andrew Thomas.
It's tough.
It could be Lemieux because he was straight trash in terms of pass protection.
Parrott. It could be Parrott.
Could be Parrott.
I'm gonna say Will Hernandez, man. I hope Will Hernandez can get back to that nasty, mean guy that he was his rookie season. It seemed like he played really good his rookie year. I would love to see Will Hernandez have a bounce back season. I mean, we could use Will Hernandez on this team. He and Solder, I would like to see them step up this year.
You think Solder gets an opportunity to start?
I think he'll have an opportunity. Yeah. I think he'll have to win the job at a training camp, but I think he'll have an opportunity.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. DJ, thank you for the super chat. Really. Alex Smith was out because of Mahomes. Well, I mean, of course, they drafted Mahomes, and Alex Smith played that year, and then they moved on from him. Elite quarterbacks got swagger and confidence. Jones don't have that. He's not the future, guys, but I'll take the L. I said before.
You might be right.
That's my biggest issue with Daniel Jones is his lack of confidence. And you hope that the pieces that the Giants brought in here, obviously trying to give him the best weapons, the best situation to succeed, maybe outside of getting more linemen for him, you hope that he gets more confidence.
And here's what I'll say, and he may be right. He may be wrong. We don't know.
Little Billy Joel right there.
I was about to sing the Billy Joel song.
You should have. You should have put that out there.
It may just be a lunatic that I'm looking for. DJ,
right.
You're a lunatic. No, but all kidding aside, I think that, I know, and I hate to compare the two because it's inevitably that they're going to be compared, Eli and Jones. I heard the same stuff about Eli 2 years into his career. He doesn't have the confidence. He's got the all shucks attitude. He can't handle the New York pressure. So I don't read into that. I want to see results on the field. And I think in terms of his demeanor, he's kind of what I want in a New York quarterback. I don't want a guy that's going to be brash and outspoken and cocky because the media will eat him up alive. I think you need a guy with Eli Manning's kind of personality where he's kind of got that nothing's going to bother me attitude. I'm going to just think about football and be the leader of this team. So his aura does not bother me at all. I need to see results, but his demeanor does not bother me at all.
I agree. Joseph Clark. Yeah, it doesn't bother me either because sometimes you don't need to be that rah-rah guy. You don't need to be that outspoken guy. You need to lead by example. Daniel Jones has to learn how to do that. I was looking something up because of Joseph's super chat. Billy says Smith sucks and DJ's ceiling is a lot higher. So Alex Smith had a bad couple of first years. He missed the 2008 season because he was hurt. His first season, he had 1 touchdown and 11 interceptions. That's pretty bad. Then he had 16 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, and 2 and 4 as he was hurt that year as well. So all these bad years, and the guy still ended up with 35,650 yards passing, 199 touchdowns, 109 interceptions. That's really not bad. He also led the NFL in quarterback rating in 2017. And that was the year that they drafted Pat Mahomes. And they still moved on from after he led the league in quarterback rating that year with 26 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. If Daniel Jones can have a year like Smith did in 2017, 4,042 yards passing, 26 touchdowns, 5 picks, I will take that from Daniel Jones every year. Alex Smith got off to a bad start on a really bad 49er team. Then he got hurt, and Kaepernick took over. Kaepernick killed it, and that was the end of Alex Smith there. And then he went to Kansas City, won 12 games every year.
Alex Smith, to me, is the poster child of what you don't do when you draft a quarterback. Alex Smith is what I worry about with Daniel Jones when I saw them switch offensive coordinators year 2. In Alex Smith's first 7 years, he went through 7 different offensive coordinators. 7 different offensive coordinators in 7 years. And it's why he never got stability. Once he got put in a situation with the same coach, the same system, and he knew what to do, you saw him start to take off. Alex Smith always had talent. He was the number 1 overall pick out of Utah. He didn't have the most incredible arm in the world, but he's one of the most, brilliant minds to play the quarterback position. Very smart kid. And you saw once the organization believed in him and put him in a situation to succeed, he started to take off. And you hope the same thing for Jones. But I think Alex Smith is actually one of the most underrated quarterbacks over the last 20 years. Once the guy got put in a spot to win, the guy did. He didn't win a Super Bowl, but he was this close to going to one. This close to going to one. I had the New York Giants don't recover that punt or kick or whatever. Alex Smith's going to a Super Bowl more than likely with the San Francisco 49ers. So he's a pretty damn good quarterback.
Right. And then the next year, again, that was a team that went to the Super Bowl. Now he got hurt. And again, Kaepernick led them there, but that was another really good team. And obviously he was a part of it before he went down with injury. So, yeah, if Daniel Jones is as good as Alex Smith, like I said, if he has those type of years where he throws for 4,000 yards or 26 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, I'm signing up for that right now. I'm signing up for those stats right now. Give me that all the time.
Yeah,
I can live with that. He does not need to be Pat Mahomes. He does not need it to over 38 touchdowns or 45 touchdowns. And with Saquon Barkley there, he shouldn't have to do that. He shouldn't have to. You know, that's the thing. So I will, if he's Alex Smith, which is the guy that I've compared him to, because I think that their skill sets are very similar. I felt like Alex Smith was a guy that didn't have the best arm, but he was mobile. Wasn't as fast as Daniel Jones, but I also felt like he was smart with the ball, didn't turn it over a lot once he got out of San Francisco. And again, he didn't turn it over. He was smart with the football. He was mobile, and he was accurate. And if Daniel Jones is that guy, I'm happy.
I think Jones, I definitely see the similarities with Alex Smith in terms of their skill set. I think Jones has more. I think he has better fit, just raw tools than Alex Smith did. I do think he has a better arm. I think he's a little bit faster. Alex Smith was pretty fast. I think he has a better arm, but where Alex Smith, at least as he advanced in his career, was much better than Jones is now is his IQ. Alex Smith never turned the ball over. And if Jones...
Well, at the beginning of his career, he did.
He did. But if he could grow into Alex Smith's IQ, not making mistakes, and having a little bit more of an upside than Smith had, I think he could be a really good quarterback. So I think he has to develop in terms of his football IQ like Smith did, but I do think he has a little bit more upside in terms of his raw physical ability.
I completely agree. DJ, thank you for the super chat. Brilly. He says he needs to be a baller shot caller. I don't want Eli in terms of quarterback play. I want him to be Peyton and clutch MVPs and Super Bowls. Well, Eli had more Super Bowls than Peyton, and Peyton's postseason career, not nearly as good as his regular season career. As a matter of fact, one of my big knocks on Peyton Manning is that he shrunk up in big spots. Even in that Super Bowl that he won against the Bears, he wasn't good in that Super Bowl.
Peyton Manning, and I love Peyton Manning. I think he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, top 3 or 4. Eli Manning and Peyton Manning are not even close when it comes to the big moment. You know what? I'm looking at it right now. You know what Peyton Manning's career QB rating in the playoffs was?
It's like 86 or something.
87.
Yeah, it's less than Eli's.
The guy had 40 touchdowns and 25 picks in the postseason.
His QBR is less than Eli's in the postseason.
Peyton Manning was not a good big game quarterback. And if Peyton Manning was even an average big game quarterback, he would have went down as the greatest quarterback who ever lived.
Yep. And I wouldn't have even argued.
He was not a good big game quarterback.
No, he wasn't. Eli was.
Yeah.
After this first playoff game, he was awful against the.
And I see people in the chat saying that he's got 2 Super Bowls, and he does. His second Super Bowl.
Oh God, I forgot that he got a second Super Bowl.
His second Super Bowl with Denver. In 3 games, the guy threw for 539 yards. That's like 170 yards.
How bad was the Super Bowl? I mean, give me a break. I mean, he had nothing to do with them winning that.
In 2015, so we're not talking about 1998, he had a 55% completion percentage in the playoffs, and he won a Super Bowl because of the defense.
What was he in the Super Bowl? Bring that up.
He had 1 touchdown. He had one touchdown.
He had 1 touchdown, but what was he, like 8 out of 30?
He wasn't good.
For 60 yards. It was terrible. You forgot he was even on the team.
This is Peyton Manning's stats that year. He played 9 games. He went 7-2. And some people just look at the record. 2,249 yards, 9 touchdowns, 17 interceptions with a 67 quarterback rating.
That's why
you can make an argument, and this sounds funny and it's ironic to say, he may be the worst quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl in 2015. He was that bad that year.
Yeah, that's why I forgot that he even won that Super Bowl with Denver, because he had nothing to do with it.
Nothing.
The defense was God.
Yeah.
And people can sit there and go, well, Eli's defense carried him. Well, that's crap. And Chris tweeted that out and actually had Bob Papa agree with him on that, because Eli thrown the most. That was the most yardage in a season in the history of the NFL between the regular season and the postseason that year. And he should have won MVP that year because his defense ranked 30th in the league. And they still went to the damn Super Bowl that year. So I always laugh at that. But, yeah, I forgot. Peyton Manning was forgettable in 2015. Forgettable. Yeah. That's not a big game quarterback.
No.
Not a big game quarterback. Dylan, thank you for the super chat. Really. He says Curry just put up 24 points in the first quarter. Hashtag best point guard. That's always great because I have his rookie, so I always love it.
That's what Jokic did against us. 24 in the first quarter.
Yeah, somebody was telling me that. I'm like, oh my God. And the Knicks were down 34-12 after the first.
Yeah.
They're bound to have a couple bad games. The West Coast trip's always difficult for.
By the way, you got a big raid. I think it's from Rocha. It says Warriors raid.
Yo, Roach, I'm sorry, man. I'm not looking at the Rocha. What's going on? Is that why that is? I'm not. It doesn't show up on StreamYard. So, yo, Rocha. Big shout out to Rocha. Hey, look at you guys. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. You know what to do. Hit the like. Rocha tells you, like and subscribe. Make sure you guys go in the description. Take some time going to the description. Subscribe to the Entertainer Talking Sports, guys. Rocha, thank you for the raid, my brother. I appreciate it. Rocha's the man. Warriors raid coming in here. Yeah, Warriors fans, it could be the Lakers and the Warriors in the play-in. That could happen.
That could happen.
Rocha, you're the man. Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate that, man. I really appreciate it. You guys are the best. Rocha's he's a big Warrior guy. I like when he gets pissed. Rocha gets pissed. It's fantastic. I'm like, that's why I like him, because I understand that frustration. But because the Warriors, a couple games, I think it was against Dallas, they were down like 65-23 or something. It was unbelievable. They were getting killed. And he's like, all right, I'm done with this. I can't even do this. It was
I would do the same thing. I think if the Knicks were down by 40, I think I would end the stream. I would just be so pissed.
That was bad. It was a bad game. King Trizzy wrote you the man. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. King Trizzy really says if DJ had 24 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, Saquon has 15 touchdowns, I'll be happy.
I don't care what the stats are. I just want wins.
That's what I say.
I say it all the time. I don't care about stats.
Yep. Stats, fantasy football. There's all the raids. So if I missed the super chat, I hope I didn't. But Steve M, thank you for the super chat. Brilly. He says maybe put O-line in front of him and get him above average wide receiver before writing DJ off. Fans always want the quarterbacks to be superhuman. By the way, Steve is a Lions fan.
I agree with him.
I think he knows.
I agree with him.
I always felt like Stafford was one of the most underrated quarterbacks in football.
I agree with Steve. The only way after this year, if the offensive line is subpar this year, that I would move on from Jones is if we're picking top 2 or 3, or we have the ability to move up to top 2 or 3 and get a quarterback. I agree with him. The goal should always be to try to give your quarterback the best possible situation that you can. But I understand the other side of it. If you could reset the rookie clock after 3 years, but I agree with him.
I agree. Minty, sorry, I didn't mean to miss your super chat. I thought I put it up on the screen. I thought I did. I'm sorry, man. But when the raid comes through there like that and all those comments are there, man, I can't get back there. So I'm sorry. I definitely didn't mean to miss that. Yankees fan, Brilly. Is the Amir Yankees playing well recently? Definitely playing better than they were at the beginning of the year. Kyle Lagashoka makes a big difference when he starts.
Yankees, you knew they were going to turn around. They got too much talent.
No, that's what happens when you play bad teams.
Yeah.
You should be able to beat bad teams.
Yeah.
But they did beat the Astros 2 out of 3, which was great. Of course, that little bastard out there hit a game-winning homer against us, too. Cheater. But the fans gave it to him good. I like that. Dire Giants fan, Brilly. Baddog seems tired or high right now. Oh, yeah, you know me. Always. 420. I'm always tired. Always. I had a long day. Long day. Fix your line. Thank you for the super chat. Brilly says, forget turnovers. Need to see DJ win in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Exactly.
I'm with him on that. And we need to see him beat a good team. He hasn't done that yet.
Yeah. Minty, thank you for the super chat. He says, you missed my previous. I'm sorry, man. Again, it's when you're on StreamYard or whatever. Yeah, StreamYard. Even on YouTube, you'll miss it. When things go, like I said, when that raid comes through like that and there's just,
Warriors raid.
Right. It's going to go past. So I even said that. I'm like, I hope I didn't miss any because you can only go back so far in the chat when that happens. So unfortunately, and I don't know why, like the studio doesn't show it anymore. It used to. Oh, nope, it does. So let me go back to it.
Oh, I didn't know you could do it in the studio like that.
No, actually it doesn't. I only got the last 4. See, it says Bad Dogs, or it says our guys are whatever. Yankees are playing well. Baddog seems tired or high. Fix your line says forget turnovers. Minty says missed my previous super chat. And then Ed says, Dog, who do you like better, Elijah Moore or Tony? I'll be honest with you. I don't know much about Elijah Moore. So I can't really answer that. I'm sure some people had Elijah Moore higher than Kadarius Toney. Listen, and this is the way I'm going to talk. Like I'll say this about the wide receivers. Wide receivers can be great in college. The route running in the NFL is much different. The cornerbacks and the defenses are much different. That's all well and good. It really depends on the situation you're put in as a wide receiver. If Jerry Rice doesn't have Joe Montana, is he Jerry Rice? You know what I mean? Is he that good without Joe Montana? If Jerry Rice goes to a bad team, is Jerry Rice any good? I shouldn't say is he any good. Is he Jerry Rice? Is he still the GOAT by a mile? And not only did he have Joe Montana, then he had Steve Young.
And he had Bill Walsh.
So 2 pretty good quarterbacks. Right, he had Bill Walsh. So, it really depends. Some receivers go to bad teams, and the quarterbacks suck. And if the quarterback sucks, Eagles fans are going to find out. DeVonta Smith ain't going to be much. They all love Jalen Reagor. They want to talk about the receiver this, receiver that. They could have taken Justin Jefferson last year, and they didn't do it. So
here's what I'll say about Elijah Moore and Kadarius Toney. I like both of them. To me, they're completely different types of wide receivers. Elijah Moore is a definitive slot. You can't really do much else other than that. in terms of just being a slot, yeah, most people would tell you he's better than Kadarius Toney. I actually had Toney as my 5. I had Moore as my 6 going into the draft. It's why in my reaction video I didn't mention Elijah Moore. I had him as my 6. He's a slot. I liked him. Toney to me is more of a home run threat, and you could use him in a lot of other different ways. So I think for the Giants offense, I'd prefer Toney. Judge talks about versatility and being able to, and I think we need like that big play threat. And I think Toney's a guy that could take a slant to the house more so than a guy like Elijah Moore.
Yeah, and the other thing is you can line Toney up in the backfield. He can run a little bit. You can run some end around, some jet sweeps, double reverses. He can throw the ball. So, yeah, he's a lot more versatile than Elijah Moore. That I'll say, because I don't know anybody else that's that Swiss Army knife that came out of the draft like that can do all those things that Toney can do. And, Toney's extremely elusive in the open field. There's no doubt. This is why he draws comparisons to guys like Percy Harvin and Tyreek Hill. And I'm not saying that he's going to be anywhere close to Tyreek Hill, but there's another example. If Tyreek Hill is on a team with a crappy quarterback, is Tyreek Hill as good with somebody else that he's with Pat Mahomes? You think Tyreek Hill is as good with Jalen Hurts as he with Pat? No.
No.
So but that's what I'm saying. So it certainly helps. Same thing. If Tyreek Hill's on the Giants, is he as good as he is with Pat Mahomes? Of course he's not. So
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's impossible to know, because if you would have asked us this last year, we probably would have both said we would have rather had Jerry Jeudy than Justin Jefferson. And right now, we probably would tell you the opposite. Yeah. CeeDee Lamb was number 1, but I'm just saying, I'm just throwing out 2 names. So, it's impossible to know right now. We have to see how they perform in the situations that they're given. But I like Toney more because I think we needed that home run guy. And I think Moore's definitely safer. I'll say that. Elijah Moore is definitely a safer prospect in terms of there's a pretty good probability he's going to be a productive receiver. Toney could be a complete miss, but he could also be a complete home run. So I think the Giants went more for the high potential there.
The other thing is picking him at 20, it's not as big of a deal if you miss as it is if you miss in the top 10. And we know we've missed up there a couple of times. So we understand that. Yankees fan, thank you for the super chat. Brilly. Am I wrong for rooting for the Phillies because of Girardi, even though I'm a Yankee fan? Because he was a former Yankee. No, because the Phillies aren't our rivals.
Yeah.
So, no. If he was on the Red Sox and you rooted for him, then yeah, there would have been something wrong with that. But the Phillies, no. The Phillies, Johnny Latourneau always comes in and says stuff about I'm like, Johnny, I don't hate the Phillies. I'm not a Mets fan. They're not my rival. I hate the Red Sox. I don't hate the Phillies. I don't like the Astros either. I can't stand that team. And I don't like the Rays. But the Phillies, I got no problem with the Phillies.
Yeah.
DJ, thank you for the super chat. Really. I want him to be regular season Peyton and Eli Clutch. Well,
that's all. That's all, Baddog.
I'm going to say, so you don't have high expectations for Daniel Jones.
All he wants is the greatest regular season quarterback in the history of football and one of the 3 or 4 clutchest quarterbacks in the history of football. And if Daniel Jones doesn't want that, he wants him off the team. Well, you know what? I'm going to save you the time. You're going to want a new quarterback. And when we get the next quarterback, I'm going to save you the time. You're going to want another quarterback again. And when we get the next quarterback, I'm going to save you the time again. You're going to want another quarterback again. To set those kind of, Baddog, I just want the greatest regular season quarterback in the history of football. And I want one of the 3 or 4 clutchest quarterbacks in the history of football. If he doesn't meet those expectations, he's got to go.
You're not asking too much from him. I'm asking for Alex Smith. He's asking for regular season Peyton, postseason Eli. Combined.
Okay.
Jared, thank you for the super chat. Really. How do y'all think Bateman going to be this year? Again.
I like Bateman. Where did Bateman end up again? He went to he went to Baltimore, right? Did he go to Baltimore?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that fit. I like that fit for Baltimore. They needed a wide receiver. I think he'll do well. They don't have a ton of weapons over there. I don't know how good he'll do because they're kind of an offense that relies more on the run. So I think he'll do well, but I don't see him putting up incredible stats. But it was a piece they desperately needed.
Yeah. New York for Life, thank you for the super chat, brother. Really says Minty Sports is Miss Super Chat. When Daniel Jones runs, he looks clunky. That's the problem. I saw that. Maybe I didn't click it on the screen. I definitely saw that, Minty Sports. I actually saw that. I just might have. When that might have been happened, that might have happened when Roach's people came in here, and I just didn't get it on the screen. But I did see that. So again, sorry I didn't read it. My super chat says Mets suck. That'll agree. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously a Yankee fan. Daniel Jones does look a little awkward when he runs. But it's effective. He's got long streaks. He's doing something. I mean, the only two quarterbacks that were faster than Daniel Jones on the run were Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson. Nobody else ran faster than Daniel Jones at the quarterback position. So clunky or not, he does look a little awkward. And again, that's like you said, that's part of the problem, or that's the problem. You're right. I think that is. He's a little bit awkward. And Chris mentioned he doesn't know how to slide. Got to learn how to slide. Eli used to kill me. Eli had no clue how to slide. Eli couldn't do it. It seems like the easiest thing. Eli would go down in a clump, and he'd go down head first, and he'd lose the ball or something. I'm like, Eli, he'd be running, and of course, we get excited. I'd start laughing like, yeah, Eli, go. And I was like, go, you get down, please. Because Eli would try to make a move, or he'd turn his body, and a linebacker he wouldn't get out of bounds. And then here comes a linebacker, bam, and Eli would go flying out, and he'd lose the ball, and then he'd get right back up. And like,
the thing I'll say about Jones, Baddog, is I don't know how to best describe it. Like, he doesn't have like that initial burst and like shifty athleticism, and it doesn't look pretty like a guy like Lamar Jackson. But once he gets going, if like in terms of a sprinter, he's pretty damn fast once he hits his top speed.
Right. Well, you wouldn't be a sprinter though, because you have to hit top speed.
You need that in it. Yeah. But
Michael Vick was top speed first step.
Yes. But I feel like Jones doesn't even realize how fast he is. Like in the Eagles game, he's like looking behind him. Like he was like 10 yards ahead of everybody. Like he doesn't even know how fast he is. It's like weird athleticism. It's like, I don't know how to describe it.
His legs are faster than his brain. He fell down. That's why Daniel Jones needs to learn to look at the screen there.
Yeah.
Because you can see the guys instead of looking back. But you're right. Nobody was going to catch him. He was out in the open by 30 yards.
Yeah.
And the second game that they played, he had a 26-yard touchdown in that game.
Yeah.
It's funny. Eagle fans are in there going, Jones sucks. He had two of his best games against Philadelphia this year. So how bad do you suck? That's a fact, too. He had two of his best games against the Eagles. He had like 230 yards rushing against the Eagles in 2 games.
He did.
And should have swept them if our damn tight end could catch.
Yeah, it's true.
It is funny. I think it's funny. DJ, thank you for the super chat. Really, how will your boy Zach Wilson do? Chris, that's my guy.
I like Zach Wilson. You know that, DJ Smooth.
He likes his mom. He likes her too.
I do like his mom. Yeah. Zach Wilson's mom's got it going on. But no. I do like Zach Wilson. I think he could be really good. But kind of like we've said this entire show, is especially at the quarterback position, it depends on the situation you get put in. But, and I don't know the type of offense the Jets are going to run. I don't, watch the Jets. But everything I heard, I watch the Jets, but I don't watch them obviously as closely as I do the Giants. But everything I heard from several Jets content creators is Zach Wilson, of any quarterback in this draft, fit their offense the best. And, I think Baddog and myself have given the Jets a ton of credit. I think they had a really good draft. I think the last 2 years they've built that team the right way. They look like they're not going to fail Wilson like they did Darnold. They went out, they got a good tackle last year in Becton. They traded up, they got another good tackle in Vera Tucker. They spent in free agency. They brought in some weapons that they needed. They drafted Elijah Moore. They got a good running back, the kid from Michael Carter from North Carolina. So I think he's going to have a little bit of a bumpy road year one, like most rookie quarterbacks. But I think he's going to do well with the Jets. I think they're setting him up properly.
Yeah, the Jets got it right. The Jets got it right the last couple of years. And moving on from Darnold was the right move as well. So
it was.
They got it right. They did. Ed's thank you for the super chat, brother. Brilly. He says, here we go again, Jets fans. Wilson throws a few passes at minicamp today, and already they're talking crap about now he's a faster Mahomes. So annoying. The Jets fans haven't had a lot to cheer about.
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to, or maybe they've been hanging out with the Eagle fans a little bit too long, because that seems to happen. Jalen Hurts, he'll throw a pass. Nobody will be out there. And, this guy is Dan Marino, but he can run. That's I don't know. Eds, I'm just going to say the Jets, they've had some bad luck with their quarterbacks. So I don't hate the Jets. Again, they're like the Mets. They're not the Giants' rivals. So they're like our little brother. I'll pick on them a little bit, but at the end of the day, I got no problem with the Jets. I always hope the Jets do well.
I like what the Jets did. I'll be the first to say it. I don't hate the Jets either. I know Jets fans hate the Giants, and I know a lot of Giants fans hate the Jets, but
well, that's why the Jets fans hate the Yankees. It's the same reason.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, but I think they're finally getting it right. I hope that they do. I think Jets fans deserve it.
Yeah, I do too. A lot of Eagle fans here. Why? We're a Giants show. Why are the Eagles fans here? Because we live in the recesses of your brain rent free. So obsessed with the Giants. Just so obsessed. It's like, oh, we tanked on purpose. So proud of your team for tanking. Now, they can say that they tanked, and yeah, obviously they didn't have a better chance to win with Sudfeld in that game. That's obvious. But let's go over Jalen Hurts' numbers in that game, Chris. He was 7 for 20 for 72 yards and 2 turnovers. It's pretty impressive. That's a pretty impressive performance.
35% completion percent. That's pretty good from 3-point land.
That's not bad. It's not even good from 3-point land. So I mean, that's good. It's a good batting average. I'll give him that. And so if he played baseball, he'd be right there. But
he'd be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely. I mean, that's really good in baseball. Football, not so much. That's oh God, who did somebody's? It was the stream I did the other night when alone, and somebody actually had the goal, and there was a great response. Somebody had the goal to compare, what you call it, Jalen Hurts to Russell Wilson. Okay, so I'm like, yeah, okay, well, your drugs are bad. You should lay out the drugs. But somebody's response is the only Russell that he should be compared to is Jamarcus Russell. That's a fact.
Listen, and that is good. Maybe Jalen Hurts will be good. We don't have enough evidence yet. And maybe Eagles fans will be proven right, but
he stinks, Chris.
The Eagles did not – any Eagles fan that can't admit this is lying to themselves. The Eagles did not draft Jalen Hurts intending for him to be the starter.
No.
They paid Carson Wentz $33 million a year. They drafted thinking full well he was going to be the backup long term. Okay? That was the plan. I don't know why they invested a second round pick in him. Or they're just the dumbest organization ever and paid Carson Wentz $33 million a year intending to trade him the following year, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So he was not supposed to be your starter. So go ahead.
No, real quick, didn't mean to interrupt you, but then they openly tried to trade up with the Jets to get a quarterback.
Yeah, and then there were rumors that they were trying to trade up again to get a quarterback. Obviously, they ended up trading up for a wide receiver, but there were rumors.
DJ, thank you for Jalen Hurts stinks. The Eagles stink too. Okay, they stink. That's it. They stink. You stink. You're garbage. You're gonna be garbage for a long time. Enjoy it. We're gonna sweep your ass. Brilly. DJ says expectations for Trevor Lawrence. That's right. I told you it is really. I'm a good trash talker, man. I'll get under your skin. You want to come at me? I'm gonna piss you off. You're not making me mad. I actually enjoy it, but I will make Eagle fans mad. I'm good at it. Expectations for Trevor Lawrence.
I mean, listen. I think obviously he's got a ton of talent. This is a guy that people are talking about for 3 years now, and I remember watching him in his first national championship game. I think it was against Alabama. A ton of tight spiral throws. He looked really good against a really good defense. He impressed me then. He's got all the tools you can want in a quarterback, including the beautiful hair. But again, comes down to the situation. We'll see what the situation the Jaguars provide him with.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
I'll say this, Baddog. Out of the this may sound funny. Out of the first 3 quarterbacks that were drafted, I think he's in the worst situation. And I actually think the other 2, maybe not in their rookie year, may have a higher probability of success than Lawrence because of the situation that Lance and Wilson are put in.
Lance, definitely.
Yeah.
Lance, definitely. What was I going to say? It's just funny how we did that mock first round or the first 42 picks. And I actually mocked ATN to the Jags and that he ended up going there. It was actually pretty interesting. Of course, they wanted Kadarius Toney, and so did the Packers. So I don't know. Christian Cologne, thank you for the super chat. Really, I saw that Eagles guy again, the one that really should just go to sleep. I don't know what you're doing, but he said wrong again. They drafted Hurts to be a starter. This is
okay. All right. No, let's say you're right then. So you then signed Carson Wentz $33 million with the intention of him to be a backup? Because that doesn't sound too smart to me.
No, that's my point. So, yeah, he said
what was Carson Wentz's contract? Let me look at it real quick because I want
128. 4 years, 128.
4 years, 128, and he signed it the previous year, right? Right, yep. The year right before they drafted Hurts.
Yes, that started the contract that year. That started.
Yeah. So the Eagles, that was the plan. I get it now. Now he explained it to me properly, Baddog, and it makes a lot of sense. $33 million a year for a backup. I get it now. It's all coming to me now, Baddog. It makes a ton of sense now that Eagles fan told me that. That makes sense. They signed Carson Wentz because they believed he was that good of a backup.
Right.
For a $33 million a year contract. He was good. They planned on making him the highest paid backup in the history of football. I get it now. It makes sense.
That is going to be the new trend in football. You draft, you reach 2 rounds ahead of where a guy's projected to go to start, and you sign your backup for $33 million a year. That's going to be the new thing in the NFL.
That was the plan. That when they signed Wentz, they said the next year we're going to draft the starter.
That's right. In the second round.
In the second round. That's how smart they are.
That's a good organization over there, Chris. They are running things well. Howie Roseman's a whiz. Yes, he's good. I think he got whizzed on. That's what I think.
They're playing chess, not checkers, Baddog.
They're playing rock, paper, scissors. Who are you kidding? Christian, thank you for the super chat, Billy. Eagles fans, Hurts is Fran Tarkenton with legs. That would be assuming that Eagles fans even knew who the hell Fran Tarkenton was. And Fran Tarkenton did have some legs himself. He's not Fran Tarkenton. He's not Fran Tarkenton. Not at all. He stinks. Shame, thank you for the super chat, Brilly. I remember that guy comparing Hurts to Wilson. He was in this stream. And I like Hurts, but these Eagle fans, wow. I think the Giants going easily number 1 in the NFC. I think he meant to say NFC East. I don't think he meant to say NFC. But I would love it if we were number 1 in the NFC. That'd be awesome.
NFC East, I think, I'm not going to say easily. I think it's going to be a very competitive division, but I think we got a good chance, yeah.
I agree. DJ, thank you for super chat, Brilly. Bold prediction, Russell Wilson will be the New York Giants quarterback in 2022.
Normal prediction, no chance in hell. There's my response to you. No chance in hell. It's not going to happen. Yeah, I think Rodgers is more likely than Wilson because I think Rodgers they're going to have to trade.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah. So again, you didn't really even get to talk about the draft so much. It's just been kind of we got stuck in our first round pick. We didn't really get to talk about Ojulari or.
Let's get to it. We still got a half hour. Let's get to it.
Let's go. So Ojulari, I mean, to me, I was extremely pumped up about this move. I loved it because everybody wanted Ojulari at 20. They were talking about why didn't we go Ojulari? Why didn't we go Pay? Why didn't we go edge? Why did we go edge? Why did we go edge? And then in the second round, you trade back again. You get Miami's future third in 2022. You move back to 50. You still get Ojulari. So I mean, I want to Creed Humphrey at 50. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I didn't. You guys know I want to Creed. I wanted Creed Humphrey to be a Giant since he was a freshman at Oklahoma. But I couldn't believe that Ojulari fell in their laps at 50 when this guy was projected as a middle of the first round talent. And not only did we get him at 50, we were able to trade back at 50 and get an extra pick and get him. So I loved the pick. I loved it. I think the Giants did such a good job in maneuvering around in the draft and still getting the players that they wanted.
Yeah. Listen, Ojulari to me, and I said it like a month leading up into the draft when I started doing research on him. I thought of all the edge rushers in this class, I didn't have him ranked as the number 1, but I had him ranked as the best fit for the New York Giants scheme. And I thought that it was possible we could take him in a trade down scenario, even at 20 or 15. If we traded down with the Patriots, Giants, of course, seem to be enamored with Georgia defenders. Their scheme is very similar to ours. He's got great bend off the edge. He's definitely a project, but he's good. He definitely has the ability to play in coverage. And to get him at 50 to me is a no-brainer. And then when I got to hear his interview on the Giants YouTube channel and how excited he was to be a New York Giant and a former roommate of Andrew Thomas was actually at his house celebrating the night that he was drafted to the Giants. So it's really cool. It's a cool story. And I'm ecstatic that we got Azeez Ojulari. I would have never thought in a million years. And I know something came out about his knee and, something there, but it checked out that everything was fine, and hopefully that's the case. But in the second round at 50, you're not paying him that much anyway. So say he fizzles out in 3 or 4 years. Okay, whatever. Hopefully that's not the case. But I think it was definitely a huge need for this team. I think he's a great fit. And, I think that was our best pick in terms of value. I was ecstatic when we got Ojulari at 50.
One Bag Doodle says Russell Wilson could probably play in the Yankees outfield over Aaron Hicks. That's a fact. Aaron Hicks is trash. Somebody said Baddog, Philly fans said I'm delusional. They've called me a lot worse than that over the years, but I'm not the one sitting there comparing Jalen Hurts to Russell Wilson. I'm not comparing Daniel Jones to Pat Mahomes. I'm comparing him to Alex Smith, and I'm saying he could be as good as Alex Smith. I'm not even saying he's there now, but I'm delusional. That's okay. Say this what it is.
Yeah.
It's always 420 in Philadelphia. I'd say they say it's always sunny in Philadelphia. It should be called it's always 420 in Philadelphia because there's people high as hell. I don't know what the hell is going on, but hey, something's over there going on. Pistol Pete, thank you for the super chat. Billy says not playing rock, paper, scissors. They're playing odds and evens. That's more their level. That's a fact.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a more elementary game than odds and evens. Just you can't get much lower than that.
No. And I still don't know if they would know what an odd and even number is. Some of them, you wonder how they even get through a day. I don't even know how they turn the computer on, some of these people, but that's the Eagle fan base for you. It just is what it is. I don't even be talking about this, but they all invade here. Like I said, they're like, oh, the Bad Dog's live and Chris is live. Let's go in here and talk about DeVonta Smith and Yeah, okay. Good, that's good. One time Jabril Peppers blindsides him and lights his ass up. It's over. Oh, I did want to mention one other thing about that, not to go back there, but what about the photograph? What about the photog of DeVonta Smith's face, which I obviously put on I put it on Twitter and I put it on Instagram. I don't know if we talked about that. The facial expression of one man, Kadarius Toney, who was extremely happy, and Jabril Peppers even needled him about this. DeVonta Smith didn't look happy.
Well, would you be?
No.
If you're DeVonta Smith, he thought he was going to the Giants. He's got Joe Judge there, the Alabama roots. I'm sure he liked what he heard there. He's coming from Saban. He's got all these weapons around him. He's excited to play with Galladay. He's excited to play with a team on the come up.
In the New York
area. And he gets drafted by Nick Sirianni, who doesn't even know how to speak in a press conference.
Right.
He
probably doesn't know how to play rock, paper, scissors either.
Yeah, and rumor has it that they actually lost the rock, paper, scissors with the Cowboys, and that's why the trade went through.
As I said in my video, the Eagles think they fleeced the Giants. The only person who got fleeced in that deal was DeVonta Smith. He got fleeced. That poor guy got fleeced. Eds, thank you for the super chat. Billy, we better not waste our beautiful picks on Rodgers. I agree.
I don't want to. I want to stick. I hope Jones is the guy. I don't want to trade for a quarterback. I want to keep our picks and keep building his team.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I equate it to this: if the Giants went out there and traded 3 first-round picks and Darius Slayton to the Packers, that is the equivalent of what the Knicks did to get Carmelo Anthony. They did that 2 years too soon, and they suffered years afterwards. The Giants are not ready to make that jump. Aaron Rodgers doesn't put them in the Super Bowl. I'm not doing that. If the Giants won 11 games last year and Daniel Jones was the major problem and they felt like Aaron Rodgers puts us over the top and we have to trade those picks to get a Super Bowl, I'm selling my soul for one.
Yeah.
But we're not there yet.
You better win. You better win.
That's what I'm saying. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
DJ Smooth, thank you. Brother, Billy, I love our squad, man. I'm scared of Dallas.
I'm not scared of Dallas. I'm not saying they're going to be easy, but I'm not scared of them.
Yeah, their defense
doesn't scare me.
They addressed their defense with a couple of character issue guys. I didn't even know Calvin Joseph had bad character. I didn't know he had he also had a lot of issues. Didn't realize that. It's because I don't do background checks on the guys unless it's like out in the open. And Calvin Joseph wasn't a big enough name to really know that was out in the open, like Micah Parsons. But they addressed what they had to. I give them credit for that. Dallas has I'll say this, they have a scary offense.
Yeah, they do.
They have a scary offense. We'll see what they do.
We have a scary defense.
We do. Our defense is going to match up with anybody in this division. So it'll be good. It'll be interesting. I think Washington, the Giants, that should be. I expect some nice 20-16 games between those two teams. Good old school NFC East Giants Washington, like it was in 1986. I kind of expect that. So I hope that's what happens. But this division, it should be much more. They should be better. All these teams should be better. In Judge we trust. Brilly. I'm going to die if Tony has a better year than Smith. You'll die laughing. Eagles fans will die crying. That'll be hilarious.
I hope so. He may not, just because I don't think he's going to get the same opportunities that Smith's going to get. Smith's going to get pelleted with targets over there. Giants have a ton of weapons over here. So but I do think Tony can be very effective.
Yeah, I agree. DJ Smooth, thank you for the super chat again, brother. Brilly. He says Jones Galladay or Alan Diggs better do in 2021.
Come on. I want to say Jones Galladay, but it's Alan Diggs. Diggs was the best. He was the best receiver in football last year.
Yeah, and they already have the rapport because they played a year together.
Yeah,
I hope to God that Jones and Galladay have a better year, because that would mean the Giants are winning a lot of games and putting up a lot of points.
You're talking about one of the top 2 or 3 quarterback receiver duos in football.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. That's not realistic.
It's Alan Diggs. It's Alan Diggs. I think, thoughts on Wentz, how he do in Indy? If he's healthy, he's going to do well. In my opinion, they got a great offensive line. They got some good receivers. Most important thing, they got Frank Reich. And to me, that was it. Carson Wentz's knee injury had something to do with him not doing as well. Frank Reich was the biggest thing. The biggest loss for Carson Wentz was Frank Reich. I think that he can have a really good season if he stays healthy. Health is a question. But if he's healthy, all things being equal, he should have a bounce back season for sure.
I'm going to have a video on this probably in about a month when I start to talk a little bit more broad NFL, when there's not a ton to talk about. But last year I did a video on the 5 quarterbacks that I think could break out and do much better than people think. Josh Allen was number 1. Baker Mayfield was number 2. This year, my top 3, I don't know the order yet. He's going to be in it. Carson Wentz, Matt Stafford, and I'm not being a homer, Daniel Jones. I think those 3 quarterbacks, and I think my reasoning is obvious. Daniel Jones got a much better support system. I think Wentz going over to Indianapolis, a great offensive line there. I think that's going to help them. They got a very good offensive line. They've got good young weapons. And Stafford going over to the Rams, you have one of the best play callers in football. I think Wentz could have a really good year. I'm talking top 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks by year's end if it all works out. Mm-hmm. I think he was put in a very, very good situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that Wentz will have a good year. If he's healthy, I definitely think he will. He's in a much better situation in Indianapolis than he was in Philadelphia, who had no line whatsoever. Their offensive line was complete and utter trash. It was about as bad as ours. So, that's why they're 4-11-1. So it's just, that's a bad team, and but the Colts aren't. Look at how good Andrew Luck was, before he decided to retire.
Yeah,
that team is still winning games with the Jacoby Brissett playing quarterback. So
I think it's a good spot. The question is, did Wentz lose it? If Wentz is still a good quarter, I think Wentz's head is messed up. I think that had a lot to do with it when they drafted Hurts. And I think the scheme and I think the better supporting cast, I think Wentz could have a really good year.
Yeah, I agree. I'll say this. He'll have a much better year than Hurts.
Yeah.
That's a fact. DJ, thank you for the super chat. Really, will Daniel Jones have that Josh Allen season? No. I think he's gonna have a big improvement this year. That's why I listed him as my top 3. But big improvement means he's going from like 27 to 13, not 27 to 4. Right.
Like last year, Josh Allen was a top 3, 4, 5 quarterback in the league. You're talking about an MVP level. No, that's unrealistic, man.
Yeah, and again, Daniel Jones' skill set is not Josh Allen's. Like Josh Allen is one of the, like Chris just said, at least top 5 in the league, at least. So Jones isn't going to be. It'd be the greatest thing ever if that happened. I'm not expecting that. I'm not expecting that.
He also has a much better. He also has a much better cast. I mean, if we're being honest, last year, and I'm not. If you just look at the weapons, no. But the Bills had a great offensive line. They had a great play caller. Giants fans can't stand Jason Garrett. They had a great play call. Dabble or whatever his name was. People raved about his play calling. So he was in a better spot. Josh Allen has more raw talent, if we're being completely honest.
Yep.
So I just don't think it's a fair comparison.
By the way, you still got 534 people in the house. You guys and girls are legends. Do us a favor. Hit that like button. 18 likes away from 400. We could get 400 likes. That'd be awesome. Where's Hakeem J? He always liked when I did that and made that 400 likes happen. So hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Most importantly, in the description, and I just saw somebody, my man Dominic Pope, just dropped a link to Tainah's channel right there. Click on that. Sub him up. We'll be doing this on his channel next week. I don't know how far we're going to go with this before. We're probably going to take like a month off, probably June maybe.
Yeah.
There's just not much to talk about.
Next week we'll have the schedule.
Yeah.
That'll be fun to talk about. And then after that, we'll probably take a break until they start to heat up with training camp. And then we'll get back to it and do it regularly all the way throughout the season.
Right.
By the way, let me see who said it. I actually agree with him, which is funny because last year I had him as my number one breakout quarterback. Richie MC says Josh Allen most likely 21 to take a step back. I agree with him. This year,
that's a possibility.
This year, I think I have Josh Allen as one of my biggest flops. And biggest flop may mean he's the 10th or 11th best quarterback, but I don't think he's going to live up to last year's expectations. I agree with him on that.
Yeah. Nations, what up, buddy? How you doing? Nations, our man. L.A. Lou, Brilly. I'm really excited about Stafford. See you in New York.
Oh, it's going to be fun, Lou, man. Can't wait.
We owe you one, Lou. We owe you one.
What's up, Lou?
Shame, thank you for the super chat. Brilly. Yeah, and I mentioned that, and I know you mentioned a bunch. Jones is Baker Mayfield. That's the guy, not Josh Allen, but Baker Mayfield's the guy that we should be comparing Daniel.
I think that's fair expectations.
Skill set similar, same type of thing. He had a different, he had a different guy calling the plays for him his second year. The only thing I'll say is they improved their line a lot. Getting Jedrick Wills and adding Conklin. That certainly helped. And then, of course, you got Nick Chubb. The guy's a beast. Saquon Barkley can definitely be a beast. We have to hope that if our offensive line improves like the coaching staff thinks that they will, and the GM and everybody else, then yes, he can definitely have a big. I don't remember Baker ended up with like 27 touchdowns, 13 picks, but I
think he only had 8 picks. Mayfield.
Okay, so even better. Yeah. But if Daniel Jones has 28 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, you can live with that as long as he's not fumbling. And he did, outside of the Cardinal game, he did hang on to the ball a lot better in the second half. So, Daniel Jones needs to get off to a good start. I'll say that. I think Daniel Jones needs to get off to a good start this year for his confidence. I feel like, again, when he starts to turn the ball over, I think then he thinks too much. He's worried about turning the damn ball over. And then he struggles. But I think if he gets off to a good start, he gets confidence. He needs to get off to a good start. He just does for his own confidence. I feel like he needs to believe that, I can do this and believe in his line and believe in his team. That happens. He's going to have a good year.
I think he's going to have a good year. I really do.
So DJ, thank you for the super chat. Brilly. So y'all think Josh Allen's the best quarterback in New York State? Well, he's the only quarterback in New York State.
It's not debatable right now. Well, yeah, you're right. Technically, but if you include the Giants and the Jets right now, and maybe Daniel Jones will change that in 2 or 3 years, but or maybe Wilson will change that with the Jets in 2 or 3 years. But how is that even a debate right now?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not a debate. It's not close. I mean, Josh Allen, probably the best quarterback in the East.
Yeah,
right? In the NFC or the AFC East.
Yeah,
who's better?
AFC East, you have Cam Newton, you have Tua, and he is the best quarterback in the AFC East.
Who's better than him? Who's better than Josh Allen? Pat Mahomes.
Pat Mahomes is better for sure.
Maybe Russell Wilson.
I'd put
Aaron Rodgers.
I might argue Allen just because of his age, but right now Russell Wilson's a better quarterback. Aaron Rodgers right now is a better quarterback.
I'm not saying Lamar Jackson's better.
I'm not going to say that. I think it's fair to go either way. For somebody that wants to say Lamar Jackson, I'm not going to say you're stupid. I think it's fair to go either way, but I am not going to say that.
That's what I'm saying. I agree.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, but that's it. I can't think of anybody else that even put in the conversation.
I'm trying to think of around the league right now.
Brady. Somebody said Brady.
Yeah, I put Brady above him.
Brady. I mean, Brady's God. He just
Brady, I put above him.
He goes without saying because he's Brady.
Yeah, he's like 6 for me right now. 5, 6, 7 for me right now. Josh Allen, he's right in there, and he has the potential to be even higher.
Someone said Deshaun Watson. That's fair.
Yeah, Watson's fair. Watson's fair.
Definitely fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford. No.
No. Not right now.
No. I love Deshaun Watson, man. I don't know what the hell is going on with that guy right now, but I mean, obviously he was my favorite player in the NFL. And
I think Watson and Allen are close. But I'd have Watson above them, but I think they're close.
I like Deshaun Watson a lot. I forgot what else I was going to say. What did you think of Dallas's draft overall?
I mean, I agree that they went defense, right? They had to. That was their only option. Micah Parsons, but the thing, I don't know. Like, and I talked to a couple of Dallas fans. I was on a NFC East podcast with a Dallas YouTuber a week ago, and the feeling that he got, and I agree with him, they didn't really get guys that are going to immediately impact that defense outside of Parsons. I know you like that cornerback, but most cornerbacks are not going to evolve, right away.
They struggle.
We've seen that with the Giants. So I don't think that they got many instant impact players. I think Parsons obviously could be an instant impact player, but their secondary is still a liability. I still think you're going to be able to run on them. So I don't, their defense is going to be better. Like the first half of the year, their defense was all time bad. Like they were setting records, and then it started to get better. It was still really bad. I still think their defense is going to be below average, and their offense is going to have to carry them. But when I look at their offense, and I know on paper, people look at the names and they're like, oh my God, and their offense is going to be good. Offense is going to be really good. But Zeke's not getting any younger. Zeke's not getting better. Pollard's good.
He's not getting thinner either.
He's not getting thinner either. Their offensive line is not what it used to be. It's still good, but it's not what it used to be.
Yep.
Dak's coming off the injury. You don't know if he's going to be the same guy. So we'll see. I think they have the potential to have a top 5 or 6 offense, but I don't think it's a lock. And their defense, I don't know. I definitely agree with their philosophy, going heavy defense. They had to, but I don't think they had any immediate impact players for the most part in this draft outside of the first round.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, again, I thought Dallas did a good job with the first 2 rounds. I love Micah Parsons. I hated that he went in our division. But, and I'm not going to knock him for the Parsons pick because I think that they definitely needed that. The only thing you could say is you got Jalen Smith, you got Van Der Esch. Seemed like they were their best defensive players. Their secondary, they added Joseph. Like you said, it's always a struggle for a guy coming into the league, but their secondary was absolute garbage last year. And then you don't know, what you got with those other guys. But, there was talk that they could have went linemen. Like they could have taken Vera Tucker or Slater at 12 after they traded back with the Eagles because he was there and, you're having Dak come off a serious injury. So that's possible. But again, I'm not going to kill him for the Parsons pick.
No.
Parsons is best defensive player in the draft.
I honestly think, though, this is my honest opinion, and I could be wrong, and the Cowboys would never admit this. I think Parsons was a panic pick. I think the Dallas always thought they were going corner. Nobody thought Carolina was going to be taking a corner. They always thought they were taking Pat Surtain, and I think it's why they didn't get the value they probably should have when they traded down. Because I don't think that they were thinking trade. I don't think that the Giants were clearly thinking trade. They got a lot for that pick. And the Chicago Bears probably knew they had a trade partner. That's why you didn't seem super active before the draft. They knew they had a trade partner, and they knew if Fields dropped, they were probably going to be able to go up and get their man. I don't think Dallas was thinking trade, and it's why they only got a 3rd-round pick. They should have gotten more than that from the Philadelphia Eagles, but they only had 10 minutes on the clock. I don't think they were prepared. I thought they thought for sure they were going to get a corner. And when they traded down, they're like, well, we can't take a corner now. There's nobody that warrants that selection. We got to take Parsons. So I don't think it's what they needed. I think they needed more help in that secondary and maybe even a interior defensive lineman. Not that early, but I think that's what they needed.
I'll tell you what, and I mentioned this before, in the video, the last video I did about how the Eagles didn't fleece the Giants, that they traded back and got Kadarius Toney. Jerry Reese would have panicked and just taken Kadarius Toney at 11. He wouldn't have gotten any value. That's the type of thing Jerry Reese would have done there. Is, oh, God, they took our receiver. Well, you better go out and get a receiver. Kadarius Toney. That's what they would have done. Because Reese never had a backup plan. Ever. Yeah. That's how we ended up with Eli Apple. Because two guys traded up ahead of us, and we ended up with him. Because he didn't know what the hell he was doing. And I went off because that year they got Janoris Jenkins, and I can never remember the other damn cornerback that they got that year, or safety, whatever the hell it was. They spent $100 million on secondary. And I'm like, why the hell are we getting him too? I don't know. DJ, thank you for the super chat. Billy says, at least y'all not biased about Daniel Jones. Thank you.
I try not to be. I mean, I've never been a Daniel Jones cheerleader, but I think he could be good this year. Yeah, I think I'm going to take it a step further. I think he will be good this year. I think he's going to be good this year.
Yeah. Listen, I try to be as unbiased as I possibly can. There are definitely going to be times that I am a Giants fan. Any fan's going to be biased about their team at some point, but just because I'm not an Eagles fan, I'm not going to think that every player that we have is a Hall of Famer. And I'm not going to think every player that we draft is a Hall of Famer. And I'm not going to think when, our $33 million quarterback and gets traded away and gets benched for a guy they took in the second round. I'm not going to think that guy that comes in there and sucks is going to be great. And I'm not going to think every receiver is going to be great. And I'm not going to think that every single player on the trade block or free agent is going to come here. That's why the Eagles are really mad, because the Giants just kicked their ass in free agency. That was really why they were mad, but it is what it is. DJ again, thank you, brother. Really, you got to start putting some respect on Herbert. I love Herbert.
Yeah, he threw 31 touchdowns last year.
Love Herbert.
Herbert's good. Herbert's really good. He was never going to be a Giant though, but he's really good.
One of our I say it all the time. DJ, first or second show that we ever did.
Yeah,
our first or second show. Chris and I talk about getting Teddy Bridgewater in. This before he drafted Jones, because this was 2018. Getting a guy like Bridgewater in here as a stopgap quarterback, thinking Herbert was going to come out in the draft in 2019, not go back to a senior, at Oregon, and saying this is a perfect time for the Giants to get Eli's replacement, because we figured Eli was going to be gone. I actually thought that he'd be gone that year, but get a guy like Bridgewater, stopgap quarterback, draft Justin Herbert, let Herbert sit on the bench for a year, and then let Herbert come in and be our starting quarterback in 2020. That's not what happened. So
I still think we would have drafted Herbert had he come out. I think we would have taken him with the 6th pick, but we'll never know that answer. One question I was thinking about when we were talking about Kadarius Toney, I actually brought this up in my live stream. I'm curious to get your opinion on it. You brought up the possibility of the New York Giants. You think Reese would have panicked and not traded down?
Correct.
And drafted a wide receiver at 11.
Correct.
If the Giants were forced to stay at 11, which I think this was obviously in the works long before the draft, they knew they were going to have that opportunity to trade down. But if it wasn't there, and they kind of went into the draft like the Cowboys did, where they didn't have a contingency plan, they thought they were getting DeVonta Smith, they didn't think there was any chance they weren't going to get him. If they were forced to pick at 11, do you think they would have taken Kadarius Toney? Because they took him 9 spots later. No, Gettleman. Because to me, but here's what I'm going to say, and we'll never know the answer. Here's what I'm going to say. Couple things. To me, we've seen in the past, Gettleman doesn't care about what the mock drafts say.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to take who he likes. The other thing I'll say is they clearly showed throughout this draft that they didn't plan to go in prioritizing the offensive line. I think they should have. They probably would have taken Slater. But I had a question after the draft, and I said to myself, would they have taken Toney anyway? And, of course, they would have been ridiculed if they did it.
I would have ridiculed them if they did.
Yeah, I would have ridiculed them too. But we'll never know the answer. But I thought about it after the draft. Would they have taken Toney anyway at 11?
I think they would have went offensive line.
You think they would have went Slater?
I think that at 11, Slater or Vera Tucker would have been higher on their board. And obviously trading back to 20, neither one of those guys are there. So I just feel like those two guys are probably higher on their board. They probably would have went that route. But obviously getting an extra first round pick and an extra 4th and then an extra 5th there's no way that they could turn down that haul. And then both of those linemen are gone by then, which Gettleman probably didn't expect them to be there. But if they were, I think he would have taken one there. And obviously, either they thought that they could get Ojulari in the second round, or they didn't think Ojulari was worth the 20th pick or pay. And even the Colts said, we were surprised the Giants passed on pay. I think you and I thought that they were going to go.
I thought they were taking Quiddy pay.
Yep, so did I. So, yeah, I don't think he would have taken it at 11. I do think Reese would have done that, but I think Gettleman would have went
offensive line.
Yeah, I do. And again, we'll never know. There is a possibility that he would have went, and again, I would have been pissed.
I think we all would have been. I think we all would have been at 11. I saw Duran say that Smith would have been. They would have taken. No. In the scenario I'm talking about, Duran, I'm saying DeVonta Smith is gone. The same exact scenario played out.
Right.
The Eagles traded up and they took DeVonta Smith. So Smith is gone. The next best wide receiver on their board was obviously Tony, because no wide receivers went before we picked again at 20. So my question is, at 11, if they couldn't have traded down, were they that committed to getting a wide receiver in the first round of the draft? We'll never know the answer. Nope. I think, like you, I tend to agree with you. I think they would have went Slater. But we'll never know. I never thought we were taking Parsons. I crossed that off my list. Never. Once the character stuff started coming out, I never thought we were taking Parsons. I think it would have been offensive line. But the fact that they never took a lineman throughout the draft, I don't know. Maybe it would have been Tony, but we'll never know the answer.
Yeah, and again, I think that where they were picking, they didn't like the lineman of those picks. But I have to think that I just think that would have been a bigger need. And I don't think Tony would have. I don't think they would have done that at 11. But again, you never know. But the funny thing is, remember everybody said, Baddog, what would make you have a Daniel Jones reaction? I never even brought into question
taking the fourth best wide
receiver. Tony at 11. I never even thought about. I'm thinking, well, they're going to take Slater, they're going to take Vera Tucker, they're going to take Surtain, they're going to take DeVonta Smith, they're going to take whoever, Micah Parsons. They're going to take one of those guys. I'm not going to be mad at any of them. Those guys I would prefer, but I'm not going to be mad at any of those guys. If they would have taken Tony at 11, I'm not saying I would have went Daniel Jones on their ass, but I would not have been happy. I would have been a mad dog. I definitely would have.
I agree with Joseph Clark, by the way, and you. He says at 11 they would have went line. I think they would have.
I do.
But the thought crossed my mind, would they have taken Tony at 11? And we'll never know the answer to that, but I agree with him. I think it would have been either, more than likely, if they stayed, it would have been Vera Tucker or Slater. And I think that's what it should have been had they stayed at 11. But we'll never know.
Yep. DJ, you're the man. Thank you, brother. Brilly. He says, if I got to be honest, I'm 50-50. Or if I got to be honest, Daniel Jones, I'm 50-50 with he can suck or be an MVP. He needs swagger. That's where I am on Daniel Jones.
I don't think he'll ever be an MVP. So I'm not there. Yeah, I don't think he'll ever be
I'm not saying he'll be an MVP, but I'm thinking he could be.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that's most, if you're being honest, Baddog, I think that's most quarterbacks after year two. Most quarterbacks after year two, obviously there's some that you're like, no, that guy's for sure going to be great. But the majority of quarterbacks after year two, you don't know yet. You don't. A lot of times quarterbacks don't even hit their stride till mid-year two. Mm-hmm. So, I think it's pretty common, especially being the situation that Jones was presented with, for us not to know the answer yet. Now, if we don't know the answer after this year, that's when you start to raise red flags.
Yeah. And again, man, I say it, I will waffle on Daniel Jones more than any other player by far. And again, that's what fans do. Like, people get on my case about that. Oh, you change your mind. Oh, you change your mind about Daniel Jones. Of course I do. I'm a fan. As I said, Daniel Jones will have a game where he throws 3 interceptions and fumbles and turns it over 4 times. Fans are going to boo him in the stadium. It ain't just going to be me. There's going to be 70. Well, I don't know how many people are going to have the stadium this year, but in a normal situation, there'll be 75,000 people in MetLife Stadium giving him hell. And the next game he comes out, he throws 4 touchdowns and wins a game. They're all going to cheer him. So I guess every fan is waffles. I don't know what else to say. I'm a fan. So, yeah, there's going to be some days that I love him. There's going to be some days that I hate him. That's just the way it's going to be. And I expected a lot out of Daniel Jones. So I'm tougher on him. Then that's just how it goes. Big Pat says, Parsons already saying some crazy stuff. I didn't see what he said.
I didn't see what he said either. I think I heard about it, though, Big Pat.
There you go.
Okay.
Kate Sam says, did you guys hear Parsons said Dallas's linebacking core was like a terrorist attack? What good start. Good start.
Not the best choice of words.
Good start.
Not the best choice of words.
Good
I'm
start.
also going to agree with Joseph Clark on this, by the way. He says, all I'm saying is that if Smith is his ceiling, then trade his ass now. I agree with that. I'd be okay if he became Smith. But if you're going to invest a $45 million contract in a quarterback, you want his ceiling to be higher than Alex Smith. I will agree with that.
No, I agree with that too.
Yeah.
But I don't think I guess, Joseph, I've always said, to me, his ceiling is a rich man's Alex Smith.
Yeah.
Rich meaning that he'd be a little bit better than Alex Smith. But I'm not going to compare him to an elite quarterback because I don't think I don't think he'll ever be that. I don't think he'll ever be a top 5 quarterback. I just don't. I don't think he's got, and I don't think the Giants would ask him to be that. I guess that's why and again, the skill set's similar, but I think this is why I say Alex Smith, because the skill set's similar. And I don't think the Giants are going to ask this guy to throw 45 times a game. They're not going to ask him to put up these monumental numbers. They're going to ask him. Some games they will ask him to do that. Joe Judge just said it depends on who we're playing. But there's going to be some games that Jones does throw 45 times. And there's going to be some days where Saquon Barkley and that offensive line is trucking and they're kicking ass and he might throw 19 times a game or 19 times in a game. So, yeah, I'm not going to sit there and say Daniel Jones has to carry this team. It'd be nice if he would. I want Daniel Jones to carry the team in big spots when we need him to carry the team. But I don't feel like he needs to do it every game. That's probably why I compare him to Alex Smith the most, because I don't think Alex Smith was asked to do too much. And I don't think the Giants are going to ask him to do too much.
I think it's hard to find a perfect comparison for Jones. Tannehill, I think, is the closest. You know, I've said that a lot, and I think Tannehill's the closest. And I hope he's better than Tannehill. But Tannehill's pretty damn good. Like, Tannehill the last 2 or 3 years has been one of the top 8 quarterbacks in the league, probably. I think a lot of people overlook him because he's not this sexy name and he's not going out there and slinging it. And I remember he was compared to Tannehill when he first came into the league. And when I started to watch him, I'm like, and that was before Tannehill kind of really blew up with the Titans. But I remember watching Tannehill early in his career, and I remember being like, okay, I see why the Dolphins took this guy at 7. And it was kind of a similar thing with Jones where you saw the athletic ability, you saw a decent arm strength. So when people ask me, I think Tannehill's the closest. I hope his ceiling's a little higher than that of Tannehill, but I think Tannehill's the closest to Jones.
One thing I'll say about Tannehill, he's a great fantasy quarterback. I say it all the time. Me and my buddy on the fantasy team, we had Tannehill. He had to play. We played 2 quarterbacks in our league. It was a 12-team league. Each team had 2 quarterbacks. Well, you played 1 quarterback. You had 2 flex spots. We didn't play with defense or kickers. So you had 2 flex spots. One, you could use any position, meaning a quarterback. So obviously you did. And then the other position was a wide receiver or running back. And every time Miami would be down like 30-10 or 35-10 in the third quarter, we and Frank would always say, hey, Frankie Bag of Donuts, we called him, obviously. I mean, we're Italian, and he was a bigger guy, so, Frankie Bag of Donuts. But we'd always be like, Frankie, it's Tannehill time. And Tannehill will get you them 167 yards and 2 touchdowns in the second half of a game when it didn't mean anything. But, man, it meant a lot in your fantasy, which is why I always say stats are for fantasy football and losers, because you put up good stats and you're getting your ass kicked and there's nobody covering or anything. So I always love that.
Tannehill, much like Jones, though, and I think their skill set is similar. But Tannehill, much like Jones, when he came into the league, was put in a situation to fail. With Miami,
yes.
Adam Gase, we saw how bad he is with the Jets. And if we ever move on from Jones, I wouldn't be shocked if he's put in a situation like Tannehill was with the Titans, that he could be as successful. I think they're very similar quarterbacks in terms of their skill set.
Well, hopefully he's as good as Tannehill. Tannehill was the highest quarterback in the league.
With the Giants, yeah.
Right. You know what helped Tannehill? Having a guy that rushes for 2,000 yards.
Of course. He got put in a much better spot. Yeah, he got put in a much better spot.
Carlo, yeah, look at that. That's an Italian name right there. Carlo Palmieri. Brilly. Have a bad feeling Cousins will be our quarterback next year if Jones isn't. Don't say that.
How old is Cousins now?
I don't know, but we know he ain't clutch.
Let me take a quick look at Kirk Cousins. He's got to be, what, like 34? Maybe he's not that old, but
no, because they drafted him in 2012, the same year that they drafted Robert Griffin.
Never mind, he's not as old as I thought he was. He's 33. Yeah. He's going to be 33 this year.
Yeah, wow, he's been only 10 years.
Yeah, he started
12.
He started when he was 24,
Well, because they drafted RG3 that in the same year they drafted Cousins in the 4th round.
Cousins is a good quarterback. I actually feel like he's a little overhated, but I don't want him. The guy's 33 years old. I don't want him.
You're going to give me an older quarterback. Give me Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
DJ, thank you for the super chat. Really, he got to carry the team in year 3. Every game with your defense won't save you. That's the thing. He doesn't need to carry the team. He doesn't need to put up 38 points. Not with Barkley and not with the defense we have. I don't think that he has to.
Yeah. No, and you don't want your quarterback to have to carry your team. If the quarterback has to carry the team, that means you don't have a good team.
Right. That's exactly it. I've seen Israel ask this quite a few times. He says, you think the Giants can have a season like how the 49ers did when they went to the Super Bowl? Jimmy G wasn't all that great, and he still went. San Francisco is built differently than us, though. They were ready to win when he got hurt, and then they had a terrible season. And their defense is extraordinary. I mean,
I won't rule it out.
Yeah, I was going to say it's possible. It's not likely.
Yeah.
But
I won't rule it out, though. I mean, I crazier things have happened.
True.
But Shanahan had a great offensive mind, and they had a great running attack. They had a better offensive line. Our defense could be really good, though. They had a better pass rush than us, but we're not going to have the pass rush that they had. But we're a different type of defense. I won't rule anything out. The only way it would be possible, though, is Jones would have to take a monumental leap.
Yeah, I agree. Taco Nacho, thank you for the super chat. Really, please read my comment. Renan said AVT at 11 if stayed.
Well, there you go. I didn't see that. But I believe it. I mean, I think AVT might have even been a better fit than Slater for what we were looking for. So, on the offensive line, a lot of people said that. So, I believe that. If he did say that, I believe that Renan's telling the truth there.
Right. Nation says, Up Tainah, what happened to your Boston accent when you first started YouTube? Even when we first started the show, Chris had a much stronger New York accent.
I guess people. No, I say it all the time. When I first started on YouTube, I did it, for fun, as a joke, and I took it a lot more seriously as I went along. But yeah, I started acting like myself. Within a couple of months after it was on YouTube.
Yeah,
but
I go back to early shows and I'm like, listen, his accent's way stronger.
I intended it for it to be a New York accent. I guess he thought it was a Boston accent.
No, I don't think it was. I think it was New York, but it's much thicker. Like my hair. My hair is much thicker when we started the show too. DJ, thank you for super chat. Really, defense won't be great of a game. That's true, but maybe Saquon Barkley's the guy that carries the team. And Daniel Jones might have to carry the team one game, but not all year. Not all year.
It won't be great every game. No defense is great every game. Right. The offense has to be better this year. We all know that. And I think it's impossible for the offense not to be better. Like Baddog,
it's got to be better. It's more last in the league.
And I've said it several times. Even if the Giants didn't add anybody to this offense this offseason, and they just got Barkley back, and Jones had more familiarity in the scheme, just by default, the offense would have been substantially better, I think, than last year. Now you had Galladay. Now you had Tony. A lot's going to come down to the offensive line.
Yep.
I'm not saying they're even going to be league average because the offensive line could be a complete disaster, but I think it's damn near impossible for this offense not to take a pretty sizable.
And you got Barkley. I don't know if you said Barkley.
Yeah. Barkley by himself.
Yeah,
and the more familiarity in the scheme makes this a much better offense.
I agree.
And then
I completely agree.
Yeah, and then you had Tony and Galladay.
That's the other thing. People, again, I'm not saying this offense it's a massive question mark. So, I'm not going to sit here and say it's going to be good because you don't know what it's going to be, and it's going in as a bad line. So you're going to kind of expect that. But I say this all the time: these guys had to learn on the fly. These guys had no chance to get acclimated to one another. They had no chance to experience an NFL, speed or defense at any point or get any NFL legs under them in the preseason. They had no chance to do any of that stuff. So when these guys came in, it was the first NFL action they saw. There's not much you can look at so much film, but it's not the same thing. You can look at as much film as you want, but getting in the game situation is way different than looking at film. So you hope with a year of experience, the NFL experience, a year together, a year under the coaching regime, understanding all the playbooks and the blocking schemes and everything else, having all the offseason training that they're going to have this year that they didn't have last year, you hope that all that combined with Saquon Barkley, where teams can't just blitz every time and they don't have to worry about it, they're going to be better. And Chris and I talked about this when they played the Steelers. I'm like, why is Jason Garrett's blocking scheme so complex the first game of the year? It didn't make sense that they had these guys pulling and stunting and everything else. I'm like, why? It seemed like they were just better when they straight on blocked. That's why they were better at run blocking, in my opinion. But we'll see. You hope that's what happens. Josh Washington, really, I hope the Giants bring Pepper back. Brings energy.
I hope they bring him back too. I think they're going to have tough decisions at the end of the year, though. And he's going to be one of them. I hope they bring him back. I think he fits the scheme very well. I think he's a leader. You're going to have a lot of decisions to make, though. We don't have a lot of cap space next year. Barkley's definitely going to be they're going to have to extend him if they want to keep him here after this year, in my opinion. It's either going to, if he stays healthy, of course. It's going to come down to either a trade or you keep him. So that's going to be decision number one. Then you're going to have Peppers. Then you're going to have Will Hernandez. They're going to have a lot of decisions to make next year. I want to worry about this year. I hope Peppers stays, though. I love Peppers. And you would think if Gettleman's still here, he would want to prioritize both Barkley and Peppers. He drafted Barkley second overall. He traded for Peppers. Those are obviously guys he believes in.
I guess it'll depend on how McKinney does. They also gave Logan Ryan 3 years, so I guess
they could cut Ryan after this year, though, which I'm not hoping for. But he carries almost no dead cap after this year.
Well, Evan Ingram's going to be gone. They ain't got to worry about that. So
yeah.
Well, and so will Solder. We're not going to be in great cap situation, but we may have enough to sign to get Jabril Peppers back here. So hopefully that's the case. John, thank you, brother. Brilly, we got to get out of here soon. I didn't realize it was 12:15, but Brilly, he says, would you rather have DJ be like Alex Smith or Tannehill? I think Alex because he has a playoff experience. Well, Tannehill had playoff experience, but he didn't do anything in the playoffs. He had 2 games where he threw for under 100 yards, and they won both of them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Tannehill's done yet either, so it's hard to answer that. They're pretty comparable. I think Tannehill might have a little bit more talent than Smith, but I think Smith has a little bit higher of an IQ. So they're pretty comparable. If he turns out to be either one of those, I'm not going to be upset. Let's put it that way. I think Alex Smith for a good 5, 6, 7 years was a borderline top 10 quarterback in the league. Mm-hmm. And I think the same for Tannehill. So if he turns out to be either one of those guys, I'm not dreaming. I'm not on a float. Neither one of those guys are Eli Manning. The stats may not indicate it, because Eli threw a lot of turnovers and stat people and fantasy people look at those. Will Smith had a great turnover to interception rate. Neither one of those guys can put the team on their back like Eli Manning could.
Right.
So if he turns out to be either one of those guys, he's not a guy that could carry you. But by the same token, like we said, if you build the team the right way, hopefully he doesn't have to carry the team.
Right. I mean, like I said, Tannehill didn't have to carry the team when he threw for less than 100 yards and won those 2 games.
Yeah.
Just because of the offensive line of Derrick Henry. You hope that we have the same thing, the offensive line and Saquon Barkley, but I don't think the Titans had a guy like Kenny Golladay either. So, I expect them to be – this offense will be a lot better. By default, it'll be a lot better. And honestly – if the offense is better, the defense is going to be a lot better, which is why I think the Giants will be a top 5 defense in the league this year. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
Last year, and I said this in my I think it was my defense video. Last year, the New York Giants ranked 26th in terms of time of possession.
Yep.
Yet, despite that, they were 12th in yards and 9th in points. If you look at the teams behind them, which was the Cowboys, the Jets in time of possession, it was the Cowboys, the Jets, the Titans. I can't remember the rest of the teams. But all 5 teams that were behind them were ranked 24th or worse in both categories. Mm-hmm. So the fact that the Giants were as bad as they were in terms of possessing the ball because their offense was a liability, and the other thing that you couple with that was the defense had to play bend but don't break because they didn't trust their second corner. So you have to figure the fact that they're going to be more aggressive. They're going to get off the field more often than not this year. You're not going to have as long of drives.
Yep.
And you have to figure the offense is going to be better. I think lends itself to the defense being much better this year.
I agree. DJ, thank you for the super chat. Brilly, Cowboys, Chiefs, Bucks. That 3 teams will put up points against us. Well, yeah, they're going to put up points against anybody.
Yeah. But what I will say to that is we did hold the Bucks to 25 last year. They didn't blow our doors off.
Right. And that was with Daniel Jones turning the ball, probably playing his worst game of the year.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys, you can't really say because Dak was out, but and the Chiefs, we didn't play. But, yeah, I mean, when you go up against those teams, yeah, you expect them to put up 27 to 35 points. Yeah. They're the best offenses in the league.
Tiger Nacho says, please answer if there was one game where you saw DJ play and say, if he plays like this, he'll have a good season. Which game would it be? Mine is his first game against Tampa. I always liked that game. I always felt like Daniel Jones just played football and didn't think and didn't do anything. I felt like that was a great game. I felt like he did a lot of things. He scored a couple touchdowns with his legs. He threw 2 touchdowns. He did a lot. For me, it's a Washington game. That was the best game he's ever played in his career. 350 yards, 5 touchdowns. He's the only rookie ever to do that without turning the ball over. So that particular game.
Well, I did 5 touchdowns. Yeah, I mean, the Jets game too, he was great. 4
the Lions game, he was really good too. He had a couple really good ones in there. But that Washington game, he also led the team down and scored in overtime for the game winner. So
I'm going to tell you the games that impressed me the most with Daniel Jones, and they actually happened last year.
The Philly game.
And some people may not agree with me. The Philly game, for sure, that was a high-pressure environment. We were still in the divisional race. He played his ass off. The team lost the game. That was number 1 for me. Number 2, even though it wasn't the best of defenses, it was by far the most pressure-filled game the guys ever played in. Dallas Cowboys week 17. Mm-hmm. He played very well in that game. He found a way to get the W. So those are just because of the pressure, the circumstances. The game meant something. The Bucs game, there was no tape on him. And to be fair, I think he still fumbled twice in that game, even though he put up great stats. There was no pressure on him. So to me, the Eagles game, the Cowboys game were more impressive. And even though he definitely had costly turnovers, the Steelers game, and I say it all the time, the drives that he had in that game, the fact that he had no help going up against arguably the best defense in football, Barkley was getting couldn't run at all. They were sending the house all day.
Yeah, he didn't do anything.
And some of the drives he was able to have in that game, and yes, he had the costly turnover, but in that game, that to me was really the first time where I said, in that game, I started to see spurts. I'm like, yeah, this guy could be really good. In my head, as I'm watching the game, I'm like, this guy could be really good. He's not getting any help right now. He's going up against he's in a new scheme. He has not had a chance to grasp the scheme. He's going up against an elite defense. We're not able to run the ball, and he's making things happen out of nothing. So those would be my 3 moments last year that impressed me. Of course, he had the costly turnover at the end of that drive, but I'll go the drive against the Steelers that actually resulted in an interception in terms of an individual drive. I'll go the game as a whole against the Eagles and the game as a whole against the Cowboys.
That drive before he turned it over was great. They took that from their own goal line all the way inside the 10. And that was just a frustrating way to end the drive because the Giants are still in that game at that point. The Steelers, they collapsed at the end of the year, but that team started off 11-0. That team was good. And again, they were coming at Daniel Jones with everything. And that offensive line had no idea. They had no idea what the hell was going on. I mean, every time he went back, every time Barkley had the ball, they were almost getting the handoff. He had no chance in that game. And, he kept them in there for a little bit. I do remember, though, it might have been the opening kickoff. It was very early where the Steelers fumbled and the Giants got the ball at the damn 3-yard line. I couldn't get to kick a field goal. I remember thinking to myself, that's not good.
Yeah, they had to score.
They had to score.
That happened twice last year, I think.
Yeah, a couple times. So
I can't remember the other game. It happened twice last year.
Yeah. But guys, listen, it's 12:20, so we ran a little bit over, so we're going to get out of here. But as always, I just want to say thank you all so much. We had like 500 people in it right up to the end, so you guys and girls are unbelievable. It's gonna be a fun year, guys. There's no doubt about it. I can't wait for Giants football, and I say it all the time. I'm going to enjoy the summer, and I am. And I would always say I can't wait for the Giants football, but in my head or in my heart, I really wasn't looking forward to it. Not the way I am this year. I'm excited for what I think this team can be. Super Bowl contender? No, we're not there yet. NFC East contender? Definitely. Winning record? Definitely. Those type of things, you have to take baby steps. Let's just have a winning record. Let's beat the teams in this division. That's exactly what I wanted to see last year. I wanted to see improvement. I wanted to beat the Eagles. I wanted to beat the Cowboys. They did all that stuff. We have to see the offensive line go forward and Daniel Jones go forward. That happens, this is going to be a really, really good team. That offensive line, if we're healthy for the most part, that offensive line can take a step up and Daniel Jones can take a step up. this is going to be a really good team. There's no doubt about that. It's going to be fun this year as a Giants fan.
Yeah. I can't wait for this year. And now we got to wait 3 months. We don't have, well, the schedule's coming out this week, so that'll be fun. We get to see which game maybe we plan to go to and all that. But after that, you start to get little bits and pieces with the OTAs and everything else, but the juices won't really start to get going until like late July. When preseason's around the corner, and they're kind of in full swing in training camp early August. But this year, man, I'm super excited for this team because for the first time since I've been on YouTube, you've been on longer than me, but for the first time since I've been on YouTube, I think there's reasonable expectations that this could be a good football team. Yep. Last year, I think we both tried to keep it as realistic as we could. We're fans at the end of the day. We both said 6 wins. That's what they got. Maybe it didn't come in the fashion that we thought, but they got 6 wins. And they got much better in the second half, which is what I expected because new coach, the pandemic, yada, yada, yada. This year, there's a possibility, and that's what's great about the NFL. When you're a team that could fall anywhere between, like last year, I felt like we were a team that could fall anywhere between like 4 and 7 wins. This year, I think we're more like a team that could fall anywhere between 7 and 12 wins. Mm-hmm. And in the NFL, when you get the bounces and things go your way, you don't know. Magic can happen. And going into the year, I think there's reasonable expectations that this could be a playoff team with a legitimate record. And I think it's going to be a fun year. I cannot wait for the season to kick off. Like you said, it's all coming down to Jones. And I think the offensive line as well is going to play a big part in that. But we finally got him to help. There's no excuses this year in terms of the team overall. They're both more familiar with the scheme. And I think the fan base is in love with Joe Judge. And I think Joe Judge has been the driving force for the hope more so than anything else with this team going into next year.
Yeah.
I think he's like that shining light. Like people, and I'm a little scared of that, Baddog, a little bit, that people are pumping up a little bit more than maybe they should.
Yeah.
So I'm a little worried about that. But I think that's why this fan base has as much hope as they have. And hopefully Joe Judge leads this team to greener pastures this year. I can't wait to cover the team. And like you said, man, love doing this. There's still not a ton to talk about. Next week will be a little more fun with the schedule.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit more, about the offseason, and then we'll probably go dormant for a month or two before we really start to get into it. But I can't say thank you enough to everybody that watches the show, supports both channels, and everything that you did for us over the draft weekend was incredible. All 3 days, you guys blew it up again.
It was awesome.
And the offseason has been a lot of fun. Free agency, the draft, and I think we're ready to rock, man. Though I think it's gonna be a really fun year.
I am too. I'm definitely ready to go. Real quick, Richie MC says Civil War Tuesday night, Knicks Lakers. There's no Civil War. I'm a Knicks fan. I stream the Lakers. I'm a Knicks fan. I will always be a Knicks fan. It's funny, people that don't go to my streams when I do the Lakers always think I'm a Laker fan. The 4,000 people in that stream know I'm a Knicks fan. Every one of them that are in there know I'm a Knicks fan. The people that aren't in there have no idea that I'm a Knicks fan. That's the funniest thing about it. But yeah, I'm a Knicks fan. I just call it Lakers because they play at 10:30, and I have a family, and I want to spend time with my family. So they're sleeping. That's why this show is at 10 o'clock. Because of that. Not because of Chris, but because of my schedule. I have to do it later at night, or it's just better for me to do it later at night. So that's why. But no Civil War. I want the Knicks to kick the Lakers' ass. I do every time they play. That's never a question. There's no question about that. No question. No, not your bad, Richie. It happens all the time, buddy. I'm just saying I'm a Knicks fan. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But we're gonna end it on that note. We'll see you guys next week. Really appreciate all the support. You guys and girls are unbelievable. And one last time, Philadelphia Eagles, you suck. For the entertainment talking sports, it's a bad diggity dizzle, and we are gone. Oh, by the way, happy Mother's Day, everybody out there. Now,
Mother's Day. Yeah.
Peace.